The following is a special presentation on TNN, the Nashville Network.
Stock car racing's field of dreams. Tonight, plays host to the sport's all-star evening. In the brief history of the Winston Select, the spin to win, the pass in the grass, and the ultimate spinning, sliding, smashing finale. A night when the unimaginable happened.
I don't know about the rules. There's racing. He was trying to win. I was too.
That's because there are no rules on this night of nights. Unpredictable, fireworks producing action. Get ready for a flat-out full moon Saturday night full of action. And the winner has 250,000 reasons to celebrate. For the third straight year on a Saturday in May, they've been packing them into Charlotte Motor Speedway since noon today for the Winston Select. Over 100,000 people are on hand just north of the city of Charlotte. They've been racing all around the track all afternoon. The Sportsman 100 is now just a couple of laps from completion. The division so crash-prone, they start their races single file, but they're exciting to watch. And they're training the stars of the future in this division and in front of a huge crowd. They've had Legends cars, the little dwarf cars out racing today. Virtually everything's been on the track, but it all boils down to the Winston Open and the Winston Select. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Joy. This is the race of which Dale Earnhardt said, if they're going to put up the money, I'm going to be there. So drop the rag and let's go. He's the only driver in the history of this event to have won it 3 times. He's taking it all the early action this afternoon with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike, Dale Earnhardt owns one of the condominiums that overlooks Charlotte Motor Speedway here. Normally he's there watching what's going on, but he graciously agreed to come down and talk to me a little bit tonight. In addition to 3 wins, you've won over $977,000 in the previous 9 Winstons. This is almost like a Dale Earnhardt benefit.
Wow, that's hard to believe, really. This race started out, you was really wondering what it was all about or how it would go off, but it's turned into something great, and we really appreciate everything Winston does for us. And to be a 3-time winner is pretty exciting. I just can't say enough about the folks. So folks here at Charlotte, for that matter, we're running it under the lights. It's even made it more exciting. So, heck, I'm ready for the night.
Well, he's starting kind of far back in the pack, but there's nothing that he likes better than to win here at his hometown track of Charlotte Motor Speedway. Keep your eye on Dale Earnhardt. I'll guarantee you he'll be up front.
It looks pretty racy, Glenn, and on this night, he's been tough to beat. Usually, Buddy Baker, we see more traditional programming on TNN on Saturday night, so for some folks, this is kind of new. What should they expect tonight?
Well, they can expect a bare-knuckle fight, what they can expect. I tell you, there is no rules. They go at it, and the best man will win, and it's an exciting race. Y'all stay with us.
What about strategy for this race? How do you win this thing?
Strategy. The biggest thing, if you're not in the lead, you better get there in a hurry. And if you are in the lead, you better protect it because somebody wants it just as bad as you do.
It's a very untraditional event. We'll run a qualifying race for drivers that have not recently won on the circuit to get into the All-Star tilt. And then the race itself will be run in 3 segments of short Saturday night style racing, ending in a 10-lap shootout. If you're new to the sport, this is going to be fun. And if you're not, you know it's coming. You're sure to enjoy it. We'll be back with the Winston Select from Charlotte Motor Speedway after this.
Tonight's exclusive coverage of the Winston Select on TNN is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. By Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil, add more life to your car. By your Ford truck dealer, Ford Trucks, the best never rest. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
Ronnie Sewell is being honored in Victory Lane. He's just defeated Jerry Rector, Marty Ward, Paul Shaver, and Bobby Fox Jr. to win the Winston Select Sportsman 100, one of the preliminary events here. All season long on the Winston Cup Series, the stories has been tires. Are the Hoosier tires faster than the Goodyears here? Man who's been following that story is Randy Pemberton.
Well, Mike Joy, you're right. It's been a race within a race on the Winston Cup Series this year. Goodyear has won all 10 Winston Cup races, although Hoosier has copped a couple of poles, including the pole position for tonight's running of the Winston Select Open. The Hoosier tire is said to be as much as 0.4 of a second quicker, but that's in cool weather. When they ran this afternoon in the heat, the Hoosier tire was not nearly as quick. Now, both the representatives for Goodyear and Hoosier said that their tires should run at least 100 miles. Now, they're falling off, hopefully, the same distance. Depending on who you talk to in the garage area, the Hoosier could be a little quicker. Maybe the Goodyear will last a little longer. That is going to be the question. How long will the Hoosier tire last? If it's 0.4 of a second quicker and it lasts, that's about 50 yards a lap. Now, we'll have to see what happens when the checkered flag drops. Now, with all the facts and figures that surround all the festivities here tonight, let's take a look at the Haviland update.
From the $1 million purse, the leader of the first two segments of the Winston each get $50,000, and it's $200,000 to the winner of the shootout. The race will run in 3 segments. Segments 1 and 2, 30 laps each, with a break for a pit stop and a final 10-lap shootout. Even qualifying for this race was different. 3 laps with a 2-tire pit stop in the middle of the 3 laps earned Rusty Wallace, Buddy Parrott, and the Miller Genuine Draft Penske South team $50,000. It took them just 10.13 seconds to fit 2 right-side tires to the Miller Genuine Draft Ford. Rusty took off, completed the final lap, and earned $50,000. Joe Nemechek knocked 0.4 of a second off Alan Kulwicki's track record qualifying to win the pole for the Winston Select Open.
Well, we're pushing the car out to the grid right now, guys. Joe Nemechek's alongside, and Joe, first guy to ever go over 180 miles an hour at Charlotte Motor Speedway. That was some lap.
It definitely was. You know, it was kind of a weird practice. We only got a couple laps of practice, and we blew a motor up. So I didn't really know what the car was going to do, but it felt good the first time I went out, so we decided what we were going to do to the car, and I just had one of those perfect laps.
Well, indeed, it was perfect. You're on Hoosier tires. A lot of talk going around. Will the Hoosiers last?
I'm going to have to say yes. You know, we've done some long runs here. Bob Newton has done his homework. I think the Hoosier tires are definitely going to be a factor tonight.
And I think Joe Nemechek is definitely going to be a factor in this Winston Open. If those Hoosier tires hold up, man, he's going to be tough to beat.
Joe Nemechek was the fastest of 11 drivers to break the track record in qualifying for the Winston Select Open. Buddy Baker won that race in 1987 and then came all the way to 3rd place in the Winston itself before having engine trouble. Thought you might win both ends of that and a lot of cash that day. What did it mean to you to win the Winston Open?
Well, several things. First off, let me tell you, it's worth $28,000 and then $18,000 to get into the Winston. But for me, it was a turnaround for the season because it started some momentum that kept us in the fight through the year and really brought our team together. So this is a turnaround place. It's, you know, a no-holds-barred type race, and man, it means a lot to be in that Winston for your sponsor.
That was your first win of the year that season?
That was my last win in 1987, and it meant a lot to me because it was my own race team, and I had a great time, and it really turned the team around that year.
Well, a fellow like Joe Nemechek, who's seen limited success on the Winston Cup circuit, running hard, running well. What's this mean to him to be sitting up on the front row in front of 100,000 folks here and trying to be one of the 6 drivers that'll transfer into the main event?
Well, Mike, we're overlooking one thing. Most of these guys' shops are right around this area, and bragging rights when you're sitting down talking to everybody means a lot. But for Joe Nemechek, this means that he can run with the best of them. And there is no easy way tonight. Either race is going to be extra tough.
Well, folks, we'll be here to bring it all to you, the Winston Open and the Winston Select tonight. And we'll be running our 800 number. If you have questions about the sport or tonight's telecast, we'll pass them on down to the pits, get you some answers, handle them up top. Here's our 800 number, 1-800-451-7331. Getting ready for the Winston Select here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. You see the grounds packed with automobiles that have brought way over 100,000 fans to this facility. And the cars for the Winston Open lined up along the pit lane in their starting formation as the drivers are introduced. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike, when I was talking to Joe Nemechek, I'm so used to talking to these guys, I forgot to point out it's a rookie on the first row, and on the outside of the first row is another rookie, Ward Burton. Ward has had kind of a tough time this year. He's adjusting the steering wheel right now, but Ward, things looking really good tonight.
Well, Glenn, guys did a good job for me getting this car up on the front row, and we came down here and tested last week, and that's probably why we're sitting up here. You know, we're an inexperienced team, really don't have much of a background. Speaking of background, really not sure what it's going to do tonight because it's the first time we run at night, but if we're not running good, we'll use this as a test for the 600, so we're going to do the best we can. Hopefully we'll be in the top 6.
Good to see Ward Burton back up front where I think he belongs. Now, a little further back in the pack is my colleague, Randy Pemberton.
Well, Michael Waltrip way back here in the 27th starting position. He's won this race twice, transferred over into the Winston Select 3 times. Mikey, you got a brand new piece of sheet metal on this car in the front and the front and the tail of this car. How good is it, and can you get to the front?
Well, I guess I can't say it's great or anything, starting 27th. Buffy told me I got to pass 1 car every 2.5 laps or 2.5 cars every 1 lap. I can't remember exactly what she said. I'm fixing to call her and get that straight. But watched enough sprint car racing on TNN to know that when you're starting 27th in the B main, you're having a bad day. But we've got the car. The Pennzoil Pontiac now is working really good. I mean, it's handling good. So I could make it exciting.
Just briefly explain to the fans that you do have some new sheet metal on the front and the rear. Explain to it what it is.
Well, what we've done is extended the Pontiac 3 inches in the back, 1 3/4 inches in the front to bring it in line with the Ford and the Chevy. No longer than the Ford and the Chevy. In fact, it's still the shortest car in the garage. But what it's done is it enabled us to have a little bit more downforce in the back, a little bit more downforce in the front. Hopefully, when you run 20, 30 laps on your tires, it'll make the car work a little bit better in the corners and enjoy a little bit more success for this Pennzoil racing team.
This will be the very first test for the new sheet metal on the Pontiac in the Winston Open Select. Glenn Jarrett?
Well, I've made my way back to the 12th row now. If there were ever a race that were designed for a specific individual, this is it. We're talking to Jimmy Spencer here, Mr. Excitement. Hey, an aggressive race driver. Can you get this thing to the front?
First of all, you got to realize I thought they were going to invert this field. And but anyway, that's irrelevant. You know, I'll tell you, it's 50 laps. You got to be handling to be a factor in this race. You got to be in the top 6. Hoosier Tire looks real good right now. The McDonald's Ford's running real good. We're going to try and get to the front.
Jimmy Spencer, if he can get to the front, he will. Stay tuned for the start of the Winston Open. We'll be back right after this message.
The inaugural NASCAR All-Star race was run in one segment with a mandatory pit stop. Following his stop, Darrell Waltrip in Junior Johnson's number 11 ran down and passed Harry Gant to win the race, and then, some say mysteriously, have his engine explode 100 feet past the finish line. They have fired the engines for the Winston Open. 36 cars, 6 will transfer into tonight's main event. There's the field. Here is your starting lineup, brought to you by Sears Die Hard. On the pole, Joe Nemechek, a record 181.5, breaking Alan Kulwicki's mark from 1992. Ward Burton, first front row start for the freshman from Virginia. And right behind him, brother Jeff, ran 4th at Atlanta in March. Rounding out the front 4, Greg Sachs, who finished 3rd in this race 2 years ago. The 5th starter will be Brett Bodine, who finished 2nd in the 1989 Open. And 6, remember last year's sensational run for rookie Jeff Gordon led this race until he crashed. 7, watch Rick Mast, who has 2 top 5 finishes in this race. Loy Allen, pole winner at Daytona. Todd Bodine makes his first start in the Open, and Harry Gant in the Open for the first time as well. Wally Dallenbach, an impressive 4th last week at Sears Point, and Bobby Hamilton, 5th in this race in 91. Sophomore from Texas, Bobby Labonte, and Rich Bickle, first start since Darlington. Chuck Bound and Billy Standridge in row number 8. Ken Schrader, way back in row 9, finished 2nd in this race last year, and Jeff Purvis out of the ARCA series. John Andretti with a busy week between here and Indy, and rookie, last year's Busch champ, Steve Grissom. Dick Trickle, back there with Hut Strickland, who finished 2nd in the Open in 92. And you heard from Jimmy Spencer, who hopes to work his way into the Winston Select. And Jimmy Hensley makes his 2nd start in this race. Derek Cope won a Daytona 500. Ted Musgrave, 6th last week at Sears Point. Michael Waltrip, 2-time winner here. And Jim Sauter, the IROC test driver. Dave Marcus with a new sponsor this week, and Ken Bouchard, Rookie of the Year. Jerry O'Neill from New York State, and Mike Wallace, double duty. He'll race Nazareth, PA tomorrow. Kirk Shelmerdine makes his first Winston Cup start, and Jerry Hill from Maryland. Norm Benning makes his first start in '94, and Jeremy Mayfield, who crashed in qualifying, scheduled for the final spot in the field. They'll take 3 pace laps. They're on the first of those. 50 laps, 70 miles. There's $190,000 at stake, 28 grand to the winner, but more importantly, he moves into the big show. Tonight at Charlotte, it is presently 71 degrees. Today's high was in the upper 70s. Low humidity. Except up here. Low humidity. A little bit of breeze. Charlotte Motor Speedway. Running 55 miles an hour behind the pace car. It's a quad oval with not one, but 2 doglegs in the front straightaway. The turns are banked 24 degrees, 5 on the straightaways, quarter-mile backstretch on this 1.5-mile super speedway. Turn 4 as they come out of here. Calamity Corner.
That's called Humpy Bumpy up there. That's where everybody gets in trouble coming off 4. So, man, you have to be careful there. It's mighty narrow, and you can get in a lot of trouble.
Named for H.A. Humpy Wheeler, president of the racetrack. Nice crowd on hand. You see the condos in turn 1 in the background. See that grandstand, the open grandstand with a roof there? That used to be the end of the facility here. Charlotte Motor Speedway only about 15 years ago, and since then, they have really expanded this place. One nice new touch, the new garage in the center of the infield. We'll show you more on that later. Ford, Chevys, and Pontiacs, and 1 Oldsmobile in the field for this race. Let's check with Randy Pemberton.
Well, I just wanted to give you one more update on the tire story, not to wear it out already, but there are 14 cars that are starting on Hoosiers today in this field. 7 in the top 10 and the front 4, okay? The front row and the second row all on Hoosier tires.
Thanks, Randy. As they get down that back straightaway, still a good bit of sunlight here, but 1,000,000 watts of light coming up tonight. And right there is where that sun really gets in the driver's eyes as they get up into turns 3 and quickly go in the shade. There's a look at the stats for this race. Next time by, we'll look to see if they're racing. On the point, Joe Nemechek, Jeff Burton, Ward Burton alongside Jeff Burton in that second row. Greg Sachs.
Mike, you touched on something that's real important. When they turn in to go into turn 3, they're looking straight into the sun, and they run into the dark part of the racetrack here. Just for a moment, it takes a little bit of time for your eyes to adjust, so that's a very dangerous part, but it'll get better as it gets darker.
Now, if you can imagine that in your daily commute, whether you head home toward the sun in the west or head toward the east in the morning, at 55 or 65 miles an hour, imagine doing it at 175 miles an hour.
That's all the way over in turn 2. You see the flash bulbs going off. I guarantee you these people are excited, and you guys are in for a treat tonight.
50 laps for the Winston Open. First 6 drivers to finish will transfer to the main event.
Sitting here sweating myself.
And it's only about 65 degrees in here.
Let me tell you, you asked about strategy. There's only one strategy right now. Get out front and stay there. Because they're going to be biting at you all night long.
Joe Nemechek, the Larry Hendrick Meineke Muffler Chevy. And there's the Dillard Hardy Chevrolet alongside of Ward Burton. Chevrolet Camaro pace car pulling in. And they address themselves to the start line. The first of 120 laps of fireworks tonight. Green flag.
All right.
Winston Open is on, and it is Nemechek with the quick jump. He moves up to the high lane. Ward Burton drops down. Kenny Schrader there, working low on the racetrack, picking up a spot.
These cars are beautiful out here under the lights. You see how they sparkle now on the back straightaway. Here's the part of the racetrack I was talking about. See the dark edge there? The car will handle different in the sunlight than it does in the dark, too. They'll hold better in the dark part of the racetrack.
First 6 single file. Bump position is 6th. That's where Rick Mast is fighting side by side with Todd Bodine. 6th is the spot to watch here. Anywhere in the first 6, you go on to the feature. After that, you go home.
Here comes Greg Sachs on the inside of Burton there.
Greg Sachs wasted no time. He was the fastest driver in pre-race practice. Rick Mast up high. He's going to take that spot from Todd Bodine. Ooh, somebody brushed the wall. Got a good piece of it.
I feel send him a bill for that. He'll have to repaint that little deal there.
I believe that was Kenny Bouchard. Now, Jeff Burton in car number 8. The Ray-Vesta Sport works his way underneath.
You know, Jeff Burton ran so well in Atlanta. And this racetrack, if you get around Atlanta, the basic setup is pretty much the same. You see him going by his brother there. They'll fight each other as hard as anybody else. You see Brett Bodine on the bottom there and Jeff Gordon coming up in the frame there. Jeff Gordon told me, keep your eye on me. I think I'm going.
Jeff Gordon in number 24, the DuPont car. Brett Bodine in 26, Quaker State. They are the first cars in this race on Goodyear tires. The front 4 right this moment on Hoosiers. 6 positions transfer to the main event. Brett Bodine has the final transfer spot right now.
You see Jeff? Oh, okay. Somebody better give.
That's on the bottom in green and white. Kenny Schrader. And up high in Maxwell House blue, Bobby Labonte.
See Harry Gant there. I bet Harry said, not this early, guys. Let's wait a couple more laps before we start the 3 abreast racing.
Kenny Schrader, number 25, the Kodiak Chevy, started 17. In just 5 laps, he's 10.
Jeff Gordon moving up there, too.
I wonder if Buffy told Schrader the formula.
I don't know. I hope Michael Walter makes the top 6. He gets my job up here, and he's really good on TV.
One car brushed the wall out of 2 in that second pack. There's Brett Bodine underneath Ward Burton.
Okay, here's a replay of when the car got up into the wall coming off 4 here. Oh, man. That looked like Dick Trickle's car.
That was not Kenny Bouchard. Down on the inside, Todd Bodine. That's back at 7th position. He and Rick Mast are side by side once again. Second place.
Boy,
Jeff Gordon.
One thing about Jeff Gordon, if he tells me it's going to rain, I'm going to get an umbrella, because I tell you what, he's on the move here, folks.
Jeff, don't call me Flash Gordon. In number 24, the DuPont Chevy, Ray Evernham, the former modified racer. His crew chief and mentor, Rick Hendrick, owns that car. Up front, the Jasper Engines, U.S. Air Ford, Greg Sachs.
Boy, that's 2 good ones there. That's 2 forces on a racetrack right there. Greg Sachs is as brave as anybody alive, and Jeff Gordon is also, so this will be a fight here.
Down to the bottom comes Jeff Gordon. He takes the lead and puts Goodyear out in front of Hoosier in the tire battle for the moment.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. It didn't take him a whole lot of time to get by. I thought they'd run side by side for a little while.
Remember, Jeff Gordon led this race last year as a rookie. Got up out of the groove and crashed. Here's Kenny Schrader in Kodiak colors and scolds Rick Mast. John Andretti on pit road to replace the right side tires and a side window.
Yeah, that was Jeff Andretti that was hit the wall up there. The whole right side of that car is wiped in, and they're changing tires. I see the cement dust on the wheels itself.
Meanwhile, Rick Mast takes the spot back from Schrader.
Look how low they're running this year. You think everybody's talking about how well the Hoosier works or how good the Goodyear works. They're all working good. The whole thing is right now, setup will come into play, not just tires.
Now, let me correct. I said Gordon went to the front. He did, except that Joe Nemechek checked out. He went to the front of the second pack, okay? He's second place. Now, here's Ward Burton in 31, the Hardee's car. And right behind him, that battle's catching him. Schrader and Mast closing in. Let's set it for you. Nemechek is the leader. Gordon is second. Sachs is third. Jeff Burton is fourth. Brett Bodine is fifth. And Ward Burton is sixth. You're back in 9th place here. Todd Bodine, Wally Dallenbach in the STP-43, and Harry Gant.
You know, Wally had such a good run last week, and look how good that car's handling. He'll be up front here before long if he keeps running like he is.
They are closing it up. 10 laps complete of 50. First 6 cars transfer to the main event. Jimmy Spencer The Hamburglar in number 27.
He looked like a little bad boy in that interview, I will tell you. He's not getting it that easy, though. He's going to have to work for this spot.
Well, Bobby Labonte is running him hard in the Bill Davis, number 22. And moving up, Mike Waltrip in Pennzoil color. That's that 10W30 battle, he and Bobby Hamilton in the Kendall car.
Yeah, well, Mike Waltrip won this race a couple of times, so I'm sure that he's real, interested in getting into Winston because he's got a car that possibly could win the Winston if he can get up through the crowd here.
16th place here. It won't get you in the show, but it'll get you up there closer. These fellas could use a caution to catch the field. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Yeah, not yet.
Randy?
Yeah, possible problem, guys, on Bobby Labonte's car. He started 13th in the Maxwell House Pontiac. Just came over the radio to Chris Hussey, his crew chief, said, I think we lost a cylinder, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. They only take the top 6, so he's got a long way to go if he lost a cylinder.
Dropping a spot behind Michael Waltrip is Labonte at Maxwell House Ford. Here's Steve Grissom, the Diamond Ridge number 29, and Bobby Hamilton in 40. We've completed 13 laps. Joe Nemechek is walking away. There he is, looking very lonesome out there in Larry Hedrick's car. Jeff Gordon is second. Greg Sachs is third. Jeff Burton is fourth. Fifth is Brent Bodine. Battle for second on the Speedway.
In just a few minutes, we'll get a shot of the front of Jeff Gordon's car. Somehow he has bent the front spoiler back on that car. I hope you see it coming out of the corner here. The whole nose is caved in on the right-hand side there. He's either hit something or somebody, and it's really messed up the aerodynamics on that car. You'll probably develop a push. You see how high he's running on the corner instead of down on the white line like he was a while ago? Now, man, that's a bad break right there.
Second, third, and fourth here.
As he'll probably win the race up there. Say that. But anyway, that certainly don't help the front end on that car to stay down where he wants to. See it going up there? Of course, he's passing the car.
Good battle here. Greg Sachs is underneath Jeff Burton. Let's go down and meet one of the drivers who will be in the Winston Select. He's qualified already by virtue of winning the Daytona 500. Randy's with him.
Well, it's Sterling Marlin. Sterling usually in this race, but you had to go mess it up and win that Daytona 500, didn't you?
Yeah, I was glad to do it. I tell you that, the Kodak team gave me a great car, and you won the 500 and get to watch the Open for the first time, and pretty neat. Got a good crowd here tonight, and we finally got the car tuned in today, and we should be running good tonight.
You seem fairly relaxed. Can you relax before you get out there in a race like that?
I'm ready to go. I tell you, the car was really running good this evening, and we've got penalized on the pit stop. We kind of starting a little far back, but 30 laps, maybe we'll get to front. We're sure going to try.
What do you think about what's going on in this race? You've been watching your old car out there.
Yeah, we're watching really what the Hoosiers are doing. Seems like they got a really good qualifying tire and trying to see if they're going to fall back. And looks like Schrader and Gorse coming up on the good years and Brett, so should be in good shape.
Good luck tonight.
Thanks.
Sterling Marlin won the Winston Open 3 times, more than anybody else. Ward Burton and Harry Gant.
Oh boy, they're going by those slower cars there like you're meeting them. I'm going to tell you what. You see Ward Burton's car staying low, but Harry Gant is phenomenal. As the race gets on, he can read the racetrack and find the groove that his car works the best. A lot of times he don't use the very bottom of the racetrack. He'll find the groove where his car runs the very best, and that's where he'll stay. Tonight it's on the bottom right now, boy.
This battle is for 8th place. Ward Burton started on the outside pole, but he is drifting back into the clutches of the bandit, Harry Gant.
Yeah, that'll be a position if he gets up under him. That car's sticking right on the white line. You don't usually see 33 do that.
Let's check with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, guys, one car that won't stick on the white line, at least not for very long, is Ward Burton. He started on the outside pole, but he has developed a push in the car. Car owner Alan Dillard said it was way too tight. He's just trying to bide his time right now. Of course, as the temperatures cool down, the car gets tighter and tighter. They're going to have to make an adjustment if he's going to be able to finish in the top 6.
Thanks, Glenn. Ward said if they didn't do well, if they hadn't run under the lights, they'd use this as a test session for the Coke 600 later this week. Derek Cope has gone to the garage. He had the right side window on his car flapping and pulled it in behind the wall. Here's your Napa Field standing update brought to you by Napa. We keep America running. 22 laps into this, just short of halfway. Remember, the first 6 cars qualify. There's Kenny Schrader in 25. Trouble turn 4. One car takes a big twirl.
Mike Wallace lost control coming through the third turn there and got all around backwards there. You see the flaps sticking up on the back there. That keeps these cars from leaving the ground anymore.
And caution is out. Caution at 23 laps. This will be a big break for the drivers from 7th on back to catch up to the field.
Yeah, there might even be a little tire strategy here to put on fresh tires. If you see you're not going to make a run at the front, you need to come in and get fresh tires and maybe have an advantage.
Mike Wallace is one of the weekend's double-duty drivers. He'll race at Nazareth, Pennsylvania tomorrow afternoon in the Busch Grand National Race. You'll see that live on TNN. 24 laps were under caution. Joe Nemechek is the leader of the Winston Open, and Rick Mast is the car on the bubble. We'll be back to Charlotte after this.
Tonight's exclusive coverage of the Winston Select on TNN is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
Saw that guy in the crowd with a Cleveland Indians shirt. I think he's left over from the crowd scenes in Major League 2. We need Wild Thing. Well, we have Wild Thing here. I don't know which car he's driving.
Oh, we got several of them.
Oh, well, somebody's doing the barbecue, I hope.
That's my dinner district.
Yeah, I hope it's not your truck. The new leader is Dave Marcus. How about that? Here's Glenn.
Well, guys, to update you on what happened down here in the pits when they made those stops, Joe Nemechek, the leader, took on 4 tires, no weight adjustment. As the same thing for Jeff Burton and the 77 car. Also, in Ward Burton's pits, they came in and only put on right side tires so they could make a weight adjustment. Remember, I told you the car was too tight. They did take some wedge out of the car, so they elected to only put right side tires on. That got him out of the pits up ahead of some of the guys that he was behind when he came in. So that's the story from this end of the pits.
I say Dave Marcus leading. That's a good story for 2 reasons. First of all, he has a new sponsor. The Olive Garden chain of restaurants will back Marcus for the whole rest of the '94 season. And also because it's a favorite ploy of his in Winston Cup racing. When everybody else pits, Marcus gets up in the lead, and during the point races, which this is not one of, gets those 5 bonus points for leading a lap.
Yeah, but I'm proud that this company is backing Marcus. If anybody out there deserves a good sponsor, he does, because there's nobody that works as hard as Dave Marcus does to stay in racing, and that's a beautiful paint job. I'm going to have to get used to looking at it, though, because I'm used to that blue car, Dave Marcus, but that's a good-looking race car.
Okay. We're under caution. Scoring showing 25 laps halfway in the Winston Open. We'll be right back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Nearly full moon over Charlotte. When drivers grow fangs and claws and things really happen in events such like this. Green flag to restart this race with 28 laps complete. It is Dave Marcus on the point. Kenny Bouchard did not pit. That red car of his on the inside is second, and here comes Joe Nemechek in 41. And oh,
man,
that's Jeff Gordon. When Nemechek checked up, Gordon was right on him.
Well, that's as close to a wreck as you'll see without actually seeing the sheet metal fly. I'm going to tell you right now, somebody made a quick decision to do the right thing then.
Great sack splitting traffic there in 77, moving up to the high groove. Remember, only 6 of these drivers go on to the Winston Select.
Look at Kenny Schrader go to the outside here, man. He is making a move towards the front.
Oh, Marcus!
Oh, easy.
No!
No.
On his roof, Chuck Bound.
Chuck Bound was up on his roof there for a second.
And comes sliding down the speedway. There are Michael Waltrip up in the wall on the outside. John Andretti is in it. That is the Melling car, number 9. Rich Bickle. They will race back to the line and take the caution flag.
Jeff Gordon's in the lead and Kenny Schrader's in second right now.
There is a long-held theory in stock car racing. Todd Bodine climbs out of his battered machine that when there is a full moon, the strangest things happen on the racetrack. John Andretti, Kenny Bouchard. You see Todd Bodine walking, talking to the accident personnel. There's Rich Bickle. And a lot of good cars just got torn up. Michael Waltrip a two-time winner of this race.
You could see how dejected Bickle was coming around there. He just put his hand up like, why me? But if you're in the wrong place at the right time on a major speedway, there's nothing you can do but ride it out.
Is that Chuck Bound in the black suit?
Yeah, he's out of the car.
He's okay. Now, that's Todd with his helmet off. Turning Butch Mock's $80,000 race car. Looks like it's headed for the great BFI in the sky after tonight.
Yeah, you see him taking a drink of water. It just rung his bell just for a second. Now, Michael hit really hard. You see him, he's sitting down on the racetrack here. You'll need to get to him pretty soon.
Going to catch his breath. That has to take a lot out of him. Look at Harry Gant.
No. I can't believe it.
Trying to drive it in.
Won't do him much good. You
Nope.
see the rear end housing turn towards the inside, and the wheel on the right front there is turned dead right.
And they're going to red flag this race. Rich Bickle, Chuck Bound. Now watch Dave Marcus, the green car with the red down.
He got touched right there by
Ward
looks like Ward Burton just a little bit.
And he almost saves it. And that looked like Brett Bodine might have touched him. And around he goes. And here they come.
Well, you can see the racetrack's blocked there. Boy, Chuck was lucky there. He's on top of Bodine's car there just for a second, and then he gets on another car there. It's hard to see.
I'll show you this again from a high angle above the press box.
You
Now
see
it's happening
Ward
up
there.
front,
He
top of the
just
screen.
barely touches him right there. Gets Dave out of shape. From then on, everybody behind them knows they're in trouble.
Now watch the pack coming up. Look at the green car, Brett Bodine. Does he just get into Marcus? No, I don't think so.
No, he missed him, but now Marcus got into Bodine.
Now watch the 12th. Watch the black car at the bottom of your screen coming up here. Gets into Harry Gant. Moves over on Todd Bodine. Watch the right side of your screen. There's Bodine. And he just becomes a launch ramp for Chuck Bound. What a wild ride, and Bound climbs out unscathed.
Wowee. That don't need much comment there. You can tell that's just chaos. That's all you can say. They have the red flag out now, and they're attending to Michael. I think his bell's rung pretty hard, but he'll be okay.
Loy Allen also involved in that. Harry Gant, Todd Bodine, Kenny Bouchard, Dave Marcus, Michael Waltrip, Chuck Bound, and Rich Bickle. They have red flagged the race and stopped it to clean up in turn one. And already, it's a full moon night of racing in Charlotte, for sure. We're running the red flag here in the Winston Open. As best we can determine, every driver climbed from his car unaided. Mike Waltrip, as you saw, had a seat on the pavement and then was helped onto a stretcher with a precautionary neck brace and is being taken to the infield care center. There's the accident scene down in front of turn one, and Michael's car took a hard shot up into the wall that we'll show you in a moment. Let's go down with Randy Pemberton and a fellow who's quite concerned about Mike Waltrip right now.
Well, he certainly is. This is Michael's brother, Darrell. We were just standing here with Jeff and Darrell. Jeff Bodine, of course, his brothers both in that wreck. Darrell, how did you see it? I know you can't be happy when you see something like that as a driver and a brother.
No, first of all, Michael took a little bit more than just a tough ride. I mean, he hit that wall real hard. If you look at the footage, he hit a car head on and it shot him straight up in the wall. So I'm real worried about him. And it took them an awful long time to get to him, and then they get to him with a fire extinguisher. I don't know what they thought that was going to do for him. But nevertheless, that's what happens on restarts. Dave and a couple of them stayed out, didn't get tires. Everybody gets new tires. You got a shootout with 20 laps to go, 25, and you can't be patient. I mean, that's the thing about this race, that it's the love-hate issue of this race. You love to run it. You love to be in it. The hate issue is you got to do things that you wouldn't normally do. And it looked like the 31 car was fast down on the inside, trying to get by Marcus, touched him. And from there on, I mean, the rest of it's all on film.
Well, let's take a look at it one more time if we can roll the replay there. Well, Darrell is back here with Jeff Bodine's truck watching the monitor. Darrell, this is after the pit stop. As you said, Dave Marcus did not take on tires, and there's the wreck starting on the left.
Yeah, and of course, Dave turns, gets into the 26 car. From there on, everybody's reacting to what they see in front of them. And if you watch Michael, he hits the 71 car, bam, goes up in the air, and he takes a whale of a wreck. He goes into the wall hard. The 12 car's upside down. He comes back down. But I'm more worried about Michael. That was probably, of all the cars in that wreck, the hardest impact of any of them. And he looked like he was hurt to me.
Darrell wants to go check on his brother. Thanks.
Thanks, Randy. The glancing blows into the wall and into the other cars, buddy, those aren't the ones you worry about so much.
The car wasn't the main issue there. The
Yep.
wall was. The angle that he hit on the wall there was severe, and you can tell by the damage to the front end of that race car. But, you know, the main thing is I really think he's going to be all right. We're real concerned, but I'm sure he'll be okay.
And we'll get an update as soon as we can. One fellow who's done quite well in this race thus far, as you watch Dave Marcus's car go off on the hook. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, you can see the work being done on the front of Jeff Gordon's car. Remember, we showed you that he had caved the front end in. Ray Evernham and crew are taking this opportunity to repair that car. Now, under Winston Open rules, you can work on the car under red flag conditions. That's what they're doing. They're repairing that aerodynamic damage now. Jeff Gordon, you've been on a rocket ship. Man, this thing is really running.
Well, it was running until I hit that piece on the back straightaway. You know, I don't know what it was, but I knew it was pretty heavy, and when I hit it, the car immediately started pushing really bad. So, fortunately, we got that last stop to pull it out a little bit, and, you know, even though that was a bad accident, we don't like to see that. You know, it's working well for us. We get to fix this front end, hopefully, and maybe the car will be as good as it was at the start.
Well, you had the thing. You'd put it out front then on that restart. You think you can get back there?
Well, you know, I tell you that the car is working real well. You know, these guys have done a good job and working hard all day to get to run this good, but it starts out real good. Let's see what it does after about 15 or 20 laps.
I see a little more patience in Jeff Gordon this year.
Well, I feel like I'm driving as good or better than I've ever driven before. We're just not getting the brakes. So maybe this is one of the brakes that we needed tonight and get us into that Winston.
Well, I think at the rate he's going, he has a really good chance of getting there. This is one of the fastest cars out there right now, guys.
And I think, Glenn, you asked the key question about patience. There's Ray Evernham lying on the ground supervising the aerodynamic repair. Jeff Gordon is a not just much more experienced, but he seems like a much sharper, smarter, picking his chances driver than he was a year ago.
He is absolutely in that. We're going to talk a little bit more about that when we get back from break.
More from Stock Car Racing's All-Star Night after this.
Highway transportation for TNN provided by Cedar Ridge RV Center, Branchville, New Jersey. Featuring Winnebago Motorhomes. Call 1-800-988-4884 and find out why Cedar Ridge is the choice of champions.
Scoreboard tells the story. 31 laps complete. Jeff Gordon now the leader of this race, which has been red flagged for a horrendous wreck down in turn number 1 that took 9 drivers out of this race. There's the car of Todd Bodine. The sheet metal is rent, but the roll cage and everything did its job, did it not? Randy?
And Todd Bodine certainly in that wreck. I was standing there with your brother Jeff watching this thing on the monitor. He was very upset, but you're okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's a little sore chest and a little disappointed. You know, it's a shame. You think that these guys were racing for $1 million, and you know, it's 50-lap trophy dash here for the fans to put on a show, and they got to do stupid stuff like that. It's a shame. You know, it destroyed my car. It's junk. Nothing. Few pieces salvageable, but that's about it. I know these guys are watching up in Nazareth. The 34 bunch had a good qualifying run fourth. Keep it up, guys, and don't do what I just did.
Todd, there were some other guys that had to make a visit to the infield care center. Everybody seem okay in there?
Yeah, everybody that came in with me is all right. John Andretti, Kenny Bouchard, Harry. There was a couple of them. They're all right. Michael, I think it just rung his bell more than anything. You know, he got out all by himself, laid down beside the car, and the guys got there. So I think he's all right. Just rung his bell.
Tough break, Todd.
Yeah, thanks.
He's talking about that 34 car. That's Mike McLaughlin's Busch Grand National car that Todd drove last year. They did have a good run, and we'll give you some of the lineup for tomorrow's Busch race and the modified doubleheader that will be up at Nazareth tomorrow.
You know, Mike, you asked me a question about Jeff Gordon and how well he's doing with everything this year, and he has so much more maturity, and every year he'll get better and better, and when he starts winning, he's going to be a force just like Dale Earnhardt and several other people.
Well, he's putting on a good show of it tonight, buddy. Let's check with Glenn.
Well, sitting patiently by waiting is Joe Nemechek. We saw him bolt out to a big early lead, and I want to know something. What does it feel like to ride a rocket ship?
Well, it feels really good. You know, now the main thing now is to get in one of the 6 transfer spots. You know, we definitely have a car capable of winning the race. half the race is over. We just got to finish this thing now. That was a bad deal there when that wreck happened. You know, Dave Marcus should have gave a little bit more room in that situation, I thought. And I don't know what happened. I think he just broke loose back there in turn 4. He come up and running the side of me, and then it was just like mass chaos.
Joe, let me ask you a question. You mentioned that you've got a car capable of winning the race, but your ideal right now, your goal is to try to get into one of the transfer spots. Having a car as strong as you got, is it hard for you to hold back? Or are you going to wait till the end of the race? What's your strategy?
Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. The car is working so good. Bob Dutton, you did an excellent job with the Hoosier tires. Just everything's going our way. We just need to be patient. And it's hard for me because the car wants to go faster than what I'm driving. I'm just trying to keep a nice, even pace. And if I can do that, we're going to be there.
Well, Buddy Baker, you know exactly how that is to have a car that is so fast, you have to keep yourself under control more than you do the race car.
Yes, and you better believe that. He's got a good race car, but he was very lucky in that wreck. He almost got into it.
Now, that wreck was not of Dave Marcus's causing. A car got into the back of him. And now here comes Nemechek in the yellow car up the outside. Well, Marcus never touched him. And then here comes everybody else. Watch the yellow car on the left, right in the middle of your screen. Michael Waltrip going up toward the wall.
Wow.
Wow. What a hit. Let's show you how everybody's running, those that still are running, at the end of these 28 laps. Previous record for cars wrecked and out of the race in the Winston Open was 6 in 1991. There's where Mike Waltrip hit. Tonight already 9 cars crashed out of this race.
You know, Mike hit the wall really hard right there at first, but I'll tell you, the second time he hit hard.
Yes, he did. Joe Nemechek right now is on the bubble. He is the 6th and would-be final qualifier if the race ended now. Rick Mast 1 spot away. That's Strickland, Dallenbach, Musgrave. There's Jimmy Spencer up to 11th after starting 23rd. Further back in the field. And then from 24th on back, all of these cars were out of the race. 9 of them in the one accident. Billy Standridge had already gone to the garage. And we'll be back to Charlotte Motor Speedway live on TNN after this.
Tonight's exclusive coverage of the Winston Select on TNN is brought to you by Ford and your Ford truck dealer. Ford Trucks, the best never rest.
Well, if you were flying over Charlotte Motor Speedway, you'd see this quad oval as an imperfect diamond. Imperfect shape, but sparkling brilliance. 1,000,000 watts of light illuminating Charlotte Motor Speedway as Raybestos brakes, best in brakes. Help out with our aerial coverage of the Winston Select tonight. Let's get an update on Michael Waltrip, who was taken to the infield care center after that 9-car collision. Here's Randy.
Well, they have just loaded Michael in the ambulance, just going to take him to the hospital and check him over thoroughly. He was conscious, moving around, talking. That is the only information we have right now, but he seemed to be alert, and they're just going to take him and check him out. I'll try and get some further word for him.
Thanks, Randy.
Well, that's good news, I tell you. Anytime they take you out and then the driver's talking and all, they have to check everything, though, because a lot of times a little thing turns into something big if you don't look after it, but I think you'll be okay.
That's right. While we're on the hospital list, Carl Hill's wife, Joyce, resting comfortably at Cabarrus Memorial Hospital after a bit of surgery. Wish her well. And Clay Earls, the octogenarian promoter at the Martinsville Speedway, and one of my favorite people in all of auto racing. He's seen this sport grow up from the very beginning and has created a little half mile that thinks it's a super speedway. Clay had a little plumbing surgery. I think they took out a piece of an intestine and put in some air equip, a couple of fittings and a little bit of steel braided line there. But he's out of the hospital and doing fine, and he'll be back feeding the geese there across the street from the Speedway real soon.
Yeah, we always love to go to Martinsville, I guarantee you. Wow, look at the smoke here. Somebody's cooking the hot dogs and hamburgers right now and running over there before this thing gets going again. Jeff Gordon's cleaning his tires. You see him going up and down on the racetrack.
And the light is out on the Chevy Camaro pace car, so they'll be racing when they come back. 32 laps are showing on the scoreboard as of the time of the red flag. Jeff Gordon, Kenny Schrader, Greg Sachs. 16-minute red flag session. Ward Burton, his brother Jeff, and Joe Nemechek are in the 6 qualified spots. Rick Mast in the Skoal number 1 is 1 spot away. And behind him, Hut Strickland, then Wally Dallenbach, Ted Musgrave, Jimmy Spencer.
Mike, if you own those 2 cars, what would your strategy be?
Which 2?
The first 2. That's both of them are Hendricks cars. Jeff Gordon.
My strategy, get lost.
Yeah, hook
Check
up and
out.
go. Get away from all harm there.
Pace car is in. 17 laps to go. First 6 cars qualify for tonight's main event.
What a jump Jeff Gordon got.
Cole Sitter sets the pace. He didn't wait for Schrader or anybody else. He took off. Greg Sachs locked onto the back of Kenny Schrader for second place. For third, the Burton brothers go at it.
You know, that's like when Bobby and Donnie used to race. They raced each other harder than anybody else.
The Allison brothers, you bet. Joe Nemechek on the bubble. Here comes Rick Mast up high.
Boy, Greg Sachs is on the move here. He's right up beside Schrader. They're coming down into the dog leg there on the front straightaway. That should be a position because Greg Sachs has been running fast the whole time that we've been here.
Now, the 3 Hoosier tire cars, 4 of them are lined up single file on the bottom.
Well, you know, they said they run better at night. And now we're in darkness, and track conditions are favorable for the Hoosier if they're going to have a favorable time.
6th, the black and yellow number 41 of Nemechek. He is on the bubble. Rick Mast trying to move up and take that spot, and so is Hut Strickland. Jimmy Spencer's picked up a spot or 2. There's that second pack.
Why does that not surprise me?
Yeah.
I guarantee you one thing. Pat Carr Staple getting in the top 6, he'll put it there tonight.
There's Spencer, the red and yellow, number 27 of Junior Johnson. He is 11. Ted Musgrave on the bottom. And Jack Roush's number 16 Ford. He's moved up on Bobby Hamilton and now goes after Busch champion Steve Grissom.
Talking about Steve Grissom, I think he's made the transfer from the Busch Grand National into Winston Cup about as well as anybody ever has. He's real consistent, and he really makes his car work well.
Grissom, the Diamond Ridge Racing, number 29 of Gary Bechtel. Trying to be the Rookie of the Year. No Busch champion has ever moved up and become Winston Cup Rookie of the Year since the 60s.
These cars really, they look like diamonds. That's the truth. When you said a diamond affair here, that's what they look like under the lights here.
Jeff Gordon has checked out. He has paid the bill. He's gotten all of his frequent hotel points. There he is on the left side of your screen. He's gone to catch the plane.
Yeah, if Hoosier's got an advantage, they better use it now because Jeff Gordon's the type of race car driver. He does not slack off, and he's looking for that rainbow. I know he wants in the Winston.
I call that a 1.2-second lead, but it might as well be an hour and 2 minutes.
Now, Mike Engel was smart enough to fix that front end during that red flag there, and that made a big difference. And we'll see where that car is running right now. He's 1 inch off the white line all the way through that corner.
Now, here comes the battle for second behind Gordon. Greg Sachs has it. Kenny Schrader in green and white wants it. Right behind Schrader, Jeff Burton, Ward Burton, Joe Nemechek.
Looks to me like Jeff Burton might be catching Schrader just a little bit now.
The Burton brothers. Now, are they working together or are they racing each other? There's a little of both.
They're racing each other. Right now, the main thing, both of them are thinking about ending up in the top 6, and then they don't care whether it's brother or not. That ends when the green flag drops, believe me.
They are 4th and 5th on the right side of your screen. Jeff Burton driving for Bill and Mickey Stavola, the Ray Vestas Ford. Dale Earnhardt looking on, 3-time winner of the Winston Select.
Now, he's not just watching. If these guys move over in the Winston, he wants to know where they're good and where they're bad. So if he has to race them with 10 laps to go, what to do.
2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Let's check back with Randy Pemberton.
Well, folks, if you're a Loy Allen fan, even if you're not, we want to update you that they also took Loy Allen in the same ambulance with Michael Waltrip He is okay, but just to the extent that he was having difficulty breathing, so they want to take him to the hospital here in Charlotte, get him some x-rays, and it could be possibly a bruised lung. That would be pure speculation at this point, but he seemed to be okay, but he had a little difficulty breathing. They want to bring him in and check him out as well.
Thanks, Randy. There are no easy crashes at 175 miles an hour. Second and third place. Let's go back to the fight for 7. Hut Strickland, Wally Dallenbach, and Rick Mast.
Like I said, all these cars are really happy to be in the race period right now. They had to go through that wreck just a little while ago, and as you see, there's no real damage to these cars. They were very lucky to miss, except you notice the back panel on the 43 car is missing there. He must have got into somebody just a little bit on the rear there.
One of the cars did flip him. Now 41, just going out of the picture there, that's Joe Nemechek. He's in 6th place. Hut Strickland in 23, the Smoking Joe's car. 5th, 3rd, 2nd, and 12th in previous opens. Now there's Nemechek, and they're catching him.
I believe, yeah, it looks like Dallenbach's pulling right down on Nemechek right now. You know, Nemechek said everything was going so well for him, but it looks like to me that the 43 car is moving right up on him here.
That car driven to 7 Winston Cup titles, nose paint by Richard Petty. Wally Dallenbach drives it now.
Yeah, they got their first top 5 last weekend on a road course, but they're running really well on the oval. That's got to make them feel better, too, not that they can just run on the road course.
Well, Dallenbach, former Trans Am champion, was very at home at Sears Point. Here's Glenn.
Well, guys, about Wally Dallenbach, he's doing a heck of a job with the rear end knocked off of that car. That happened in the big wreck a while ago. He got slowed down to miss it, but another car ran into the back of him. He didn't get spun around. He got spun out of shape, but he kept control of the car. I think he's doing a wonderful job driving that car to be battling for one of those 6 transfer spots with the whole rear end knocked off of it. Evidently, last week's finish gave him a lot of confidence.
Every time I see a car with the back end off like that, Bobby Allison, I had him lapped in Talladega, and the rear bumper come off. He made up the lap and beat me by 6 inches back in Talladega there one time. So really and truly, it may not be hurting him that much. It's just ugly.
Now, a lot of late model cars on short tracks, buddy, they take that whole rear panel off so the air can get out from under there. Would that help you at all, the way that is?
That didn't look so hot off that corner just then, but he's driving his heart out right now, and it looks to me like the car is hooked up really good. It's staying right on the bottom of the racetrack. And, you know, Richard Petty had great success here at Charlotte, and it looks like he's going to get by Nemechek in second here.
This is the most important battle on the racetrack, because one of these drivers can go on to the main event, and the other has to go home. 4 to go.
4 to go.
Dallenbach, second-generation driver. His dad, now the chief steward for IndyCar racing, was a successful IndyCar and modified driver. Came out of New Jersey. Wally Jr. running down Joe Nemechek.
Hey, you notice that Wally's getting under him there. It depends up. He cut in there.
Ernie Irvin and his car owner Robert Yates in the upper right of your screen. Ernie's wife Kim watching.
Everybody's watching this race because Jeff Gordon's kind of just checked out. So we're going to keep our eye on the bubble for a little while here and see what happens.
Yeah, Jeff has really stunk up the show. 6th place is the race. Nemechek, the Meineke car, has it. The STP Pontiac wants it.
What do you think the King's telling him now on the radio? Oh, boy. You want to make the Winston, you better stand on her now.
King Richard Petty, 200 wins, 7 championships. His cousin, longtime crew chief Dale Inman, up on the roof spotting for Dallenbach as they lap Kirk Shelmerdine in the Napa Ford of Jimmy Means.
You know, Wally got a little bad break on some lap traffic just a second ago and dropped back just a little bit now. With 2 laps to go, he's really got to get after it.
Let's show you Jeff Gordon briefly, because he'll get the white flag this time around.
We have a fight for second place. As you see them going in the corner here, they'll come in the frame right here. That's Kenny Schrader and Greg Sachs side by side going in the first corner there.
That's for bragging rights and a bit of money, but 6th place is the one that counts. There's second. On the outside, Schrader. Sachs in 3rd. They will make the show. Then the Burton brothers are 4th and 5th, and now Nemechek is alone in 6th.
I'm going to tell you, if I was Greg Sachs, I'd say, that's okay. I'm in the Winston if I can just hold her straight here, but he's not the type of driver to do that.
Jeff Gordon wins it. And for second place, Sachs. One of your former drivers.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Burton, Ward Burton, there they go from 4th place. And Joe Nemechek will take the final spot. after starting from the pole.
Well, Dallenbach did everything he could do. I guess maybe he was tired that he noticed the car was a little bit loose coming off the corner there. He probably got the right rear hot and couldn't make up the distance.
But Jeff Gordon, who led this race last year until he wrecked out of it, wins the Open.
Can we do it now? Yay for Jeff.
He had a good, strong run, and there's Rick Hendrick cars finishing first and third.
Battered but not beaten. That's the main thing.
And he'll go on to the Winston Select, which is coming up next. We asked Jeff Gordon this morning, how important is it if you could win the Winston Open tonight?
Oh, I mean, God, I don't even think you can put words into that. You know, it's an unbelievable opportunity and be a chance of a lifetime.
Here are the 6 drivers that will transfer to tonight's main event, the Winston Select, along with the All-Stars already qualified, and Jeff Gordon is the man in victory lane. But it'll be a quick celebration, so he's got to get that car ready for the feature. Let's get down to Glenn.
Well, Mike, we're trying to catch up with Jeff Gordon. Nobody else could, but maybe I can. He's talking to Crew Chief Ray Evernham now. Well, Jeff, you talked to me earlier under that red flag condition. You thought you might be able to do it, but, man, you just left them in the dust.
Well, not exactly. I mean, we're just trying to learn for that Winston. You know, I'm just awful excited to be in it, first time ever, and it's a big thrill. You know, I mean, there's not too many guys that can say that they've been in that race, so I'm awful excited. Even though we had to come through the Open, I didn't wreck. I was out there all by myself this time and didn't put in the fence, so I learned last year, I guess. But these guys, this DuPont crew did a heck of a job. They got us a good pit stop, got us up to the front, and they fixed it there on that red, you know, so that got us back in the race.
You're awfully strong. You think you got the car that can take the Winston Select?
Well, I think the good thing is we've got 50 laps out here now. We know what to do to the car. Hopefully that'll pay off in that Winston. You know, we're going to be able to tune it up a little bit, and I think we got an awful strong car. We'll just have to see. I don't know how strong those guys are.
Well, I think he's pretty strong too. Let's let him cool off a little bit. Get ready for that Winston Select. Randy?
Joe Nemechek just squeaked in. I'll tell you, this is a competitive person. 6th place, not nearly good enough. He's talking to his crew chief, Doug Richard, just a second ago, trying to get the car fixed. What do you got to do?
Well, our car was a little bit tight there. Something happened when Dave Marcus hit me in the side there, and the car, it just lost that rocket jet feeling that you get. And we're going to try sticking a rubber in the right rear, try to loosen the car up a little bit from the middle off. That seemed to be where we were tight, and see what that does.
And nonetheless, I guess, fortunate to get in.
Well, it was, you know, after he hit me and they had that big crash, when I was going around the racetrack, I told the crew that there was something wrong. And we checked it all over. Everything looks good, so we'll stick a rubber in it and see if we can't make do. But, you know, this is a great night for Meineke, Chevrolet, and myself, Joe Nemechek, and, hey, we're doing it to them.
Okay, good luck in the Winston Select.
Now, they're going to put a spring rubber in it, buddy, which will do what?
It depends on which end.
Right.
If it puts it in the right rear, it'll loosen the car up a little bit, and I'm sure that's what they're planning on doing because he said he did have a push near the end of the race there. So they'll put a half rubber or a full rubber in the right rear, which makes the spring a little stiffer, and it'll make the back end stand up, and it'll also turn it loose a little bit.
Well, it was a wild one in the Winston Open. 5 of the top 15 qualifiers were taken out in the crash, and 4 of the 6 drivers who make the transfer will compete in their first ever Winston Select. Glenn Jarrett.
Well, if there's one guy that I would have bet money on would have transferred into the Winston Select, it's this man, Ken Schrader. A lot of laps at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Good run. Looks like the car's really working well.
Yeah, I messed up on the last restart, spun the rear tires, let Jeff get away, and then almost played the last lap too conservative. I don't know if we finished second or third yet, but we got 70 more laps.
Well, how about it, guys? Where did he finish? I was in the pits. I couldn't see either.
We believe he was third by about a foot.
They say that we think you were third by about a foot, but good run.
Okay, thank you.
He's got some things to do on the car now.
Jake Elders, or rather David Oliver, wasn't the answer he wanted, but Schrader will start his 6th consecutive Winston Select, and he has finished no worse than 4th in the last 5 years. 3 second-place finishes. About time he won this thing.
Well, Kenny Schrader's the most active race car driver in the United States. He races somewhere every night, and this is just another race, but it's a big race to him, believe me.
Well, they're rolling out for the big one, folks. This is the 10th annual Winston Select, and we'll be showing you throughout the night some of what's happened in some of years past, like this from 1987. In 1987, the Winston came back to Charlotte. That's been its home ever since. This was the first year with the 10-lap shootout at the finish. Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott got carried up high in turn 4. Elliott responded with a tap, and Earnhardt made his now famous pass in the grass and went on to win the Winston for the first time. Back with you live at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We've been reviewing videotape as Joe Nemechek keeps discussing collision between he and Dave Marcus. If they did make contact, it was not part of the crash down in turn number 1. It is possible they came together up in turns 3 and 4. Well, it's more than possible. There it is.
They touched.
Yeah, that was the collision Nemechek spoke of. And that's what shuffled him back into the field. And then watch the blue and orange car on the right. There's the bit of collision between Ward Burton and Dave Marcus that triggers what became a 9-car pileup. But Nemechek and Marcus did get together back up in turns 3 and 4, and that's what Joe was speaking of. What a melee.
Man.
Once again, Loy Allen and Michael Waltrip have been taken to the local hospital for observation. We'll try to get you a further report. Let's go down to the pits. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, here's evidence that Joe Nemechek did get hit by somebody. You can see the marks on the car. It's a little bit dented in right here, all the way up through the number. There's scratches there, and that paint was green. So evidently he and Marcus did get together. You know, he made the comment there with Randy that he thought that might have upset the car a little bit, the aerodynamics. I don't see how it did, unless he went and hit the front wheel of the car and they just didn't catch it. It might have knocked the toe in out of line to set up that push. But, you know, I don't see any other damage other than that right now. The car owner, Larry Hedrick, is standing by. I'm going to ask him, Larry, was there any damage done to the car that you guys haven't found yet, or maybe just now found?
We found no evidence of any damage, no, sir. Not that I'm aware of, and we looked pretty thoroughly.
Okay, well, it could have been, you know, sometimes, buddy, when you sit on pit road like that and you go back out, the thing just changes and you never know why.
You're right there. I hope it changes back like it was at the start of the Open, though.
I guarantee he does, guys.
Well, I tell you, anytime you have contact like that, but the biggest thing was the time change. You know, when they had the time there to sit around and wait, the racetrack got cooler, and a lot of times the car is just perfect before it gets cool like that. It'll pick up a push or something like that.
This is all part of the pageantry of the Winston Select. As Kenny Strader, all the drivers are paraded around in these Chevy Camaros to the attention of the more than 100,000 fans here. They get an up-close and personal look and get to cheer on their favorite while he can hear them before he straps into that race car and gets ready to go to work. Here is the order of finish in the Winston Open. There are the 6 drivers that transfer to the main event. Wally Dallenbach misses it by just 1 spot. Hut Strickland, Rick Mast on further back. Jimmy Spencer faded toward the finish. Labonte, Sauter. And from here on back, these drivers ended the race in the garage. Daytona 500 winner Sterling Marlin about to take a ride around the Speedway. Slowest one he'll get tonight. Well, the crowd milling, talking over that wild accident in the running of the Winston Open, the one that took 9 drivers, including 6 of the top 15 qualifiers, out of that race. Musco Lighting up in Iowa has put 1,000,000 watts of light into this place.
Mike, I was going to tell everybody, this is not over, folks. The best part is yet to come, and I guarantee you one thing. You think that last race was something to watch. You wait till you get everybody out there that's won races prior to this. You're going to see one shootout that you will remember for a long time.
Many of the sport's top drivers, by winning races recently, are already in the Winston Select. If you won a race as a driver in 1993 or 4, you're in this field. If you won it as a car owner, your car's in this field with its present driver. And look at a lot more of that 200-mile-an-hour tape. Originally developed for forced air heating systems. They call it duct tape for heating ducts, but it's held race cars together at 200 plus.
You see Sterling Marlin coming out there with his car right behind him. Crowds cheering and everything. This is a very proud moment for this boy. He's never been in the Winston because of winning a major race until Daytona this year.
That's right. He's always had to come through the Winston Open, which he's won 3 times. And the fans, they are crowding the fence to get a look at their favorite drivers on this all-star night.
You know, Mike, a few seconds ago, we seen Jeff Gordon in there. His whole crew was working on that race car. They do have a little advantage. They have a race under their belt in the dark here. and they can make some changes that might be just a little bit better than some of the other cars that didn't race already.
That's right. Owner-driver Darrell Waltrip and his Western Auto Chevy coming out. Darrell will join us on some of the TNN Busch Series telecasts this year. And let's go to Glenn with the runner-up in the Winston Open.
Boy, big smiling face from Greg Sachs, but you knew you had a fast car.
Well, I tell you, Glenn, we sure did. You know, that USDA Jasper Engine Ford Thunderbird, woo, let's go. The car's a little tight in the beginning there. When we had that big wreck there in the middle, we freed the car up a little, and I knew we were home free from there. Right now, you know, with these 20 minutes between races, I really wanted to make a gear change, but we just couldn't take the chance that we wouldn't get it done in time. So we've gone with what we got. We're going to go out and run them hard and see if we can't come home in the front of this Winston Select.
It looked like you and Schrader were having a lot of fun those last couple laps.
Oh, man, it was pretty neat. You know, I had the bottom groove, and Kenny looked like he was pretty good on top, and I was going to give him the top, and he took it. We ran side by side through 1 and 2, and he got the run on me and beat me down there. Kenny said afterward, he said, I think I went into a little easy in 3 and 4, and I snuck back by him. It was close to the line, but we were happy to finish second.
Well, he didn't know whether he finished second or third, but I bet you knew, didn't you?
I knew, and I think he knew, too.
Former track champion in the NASCAR Modifieds up at Stafford, Connecticut, Greg Sachs.
Greg's going to have to work on that loud voice, isn't he?
Is he excited or what? Dale Earnhardt.
Ooh.
6-time Winston Cup champ. And you hear the mixed reaction for the crowd. They either love him or hate him, but they all respond and they all have a reaction when Dale Earnhardt comes out.
That's pure excitement, what that is. When that man gets in a race car, there's something going to happen. You can bet one way or the other.
It was once said of Reggie Jackson, or perhaps by Reggie himself, that he was the straw that stirred the drink. Perhaps this man is when it comes to Winston Cup racing.
Oh, yeah. What would the Winston be without Dale Earnhardt in it? I can't imagine.
Well, he's won this race 3 times. The late Davey Allison won it twice, and nobody else has been to victory lane more than once.
Look at them people. You think they don't like him? Man, he was brought up 15 miles from here. He's the #1 man in this part of the country.
Grew up at the corner of Coach and Sedan Streets in nearby Kannapolis.
Get out of here.
His father, the late Ralph Earnhardt, NASCAR National Sportsman Champion, Dale worked on his early cars in the basement garage of his mom's house.
Yeah, and they do have a Dale Earnhardt Boulevard over there, too. They're proud of this boy in Kannapolis. Look at all them black marks from the open there.
Yes. Well, we're getting down to it as they form the cars up. Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford, with Jack Roush being rolled into position. Of all the finishes in the Winston, perhaps one stands out as the most famous of all. Perhaps this. 1992, the first night under the lights, and the finish that'll long be remembered. It off the corner. He's got the inside. He's up to Earnhardt's bumper.
They're off the racing service down on the flat part of the racetrack.
And it's Kyle Petty. Kyle Petty coming to the checkered flag. Here comes Davey Allison to the bottom. It'll be the finish everybody was waiting for. They crashed past the finish line. They have crashed into turn number 1. And Davey Allison is in a shower of sparks.
He won the race, but he sure paid the price for it.
Tonight's exclusive coverage of the Winston Select on TNN is brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels.
The drivers are being introduced for tonight's main event. And in great boxing traditions, this one will go 3 rounds. But the final round is the big one. Terry Labonte being introduced to the crowd. One of those T-top Camaros as his car is rolled out onto the starting grid. These first 2 segments, buddy, what do they mean? We all know the race is the final 10-lap shootout, but what do these first 2 segments mean?
Well, the one thing you first do is you establish a little dominance, and if you have a dominant car, then you set the pace for everybody else to try to get to. A lot of people abuse their car trying to catch you right at the first there and make adjustments they shouldn't make in between. So It's very important to run well in all the segments.
Now, there's a little added flip to this because after the first segment, the fans will vote whether to invert the field for the second segment or whether to start the drivers in the order they're running at the end of the first segment.
Well, I tell you, you and I questioned whether that was a real vote or not, but I've seen the boxes today, and that's done by the fans here, and I think that is a plus. I think everybody wants to see great racing, and they make a vote on whether they want to invert the field or not.
Well, let's go down to Randy Pemberton. He's with the driver who finished second in the Winston Select last year.
Well, he'd certainly like to erase that one from last year. Of course, everybody talks about that one. Mark's sitting here chomping at the bit, ready to go. How's the car?
Well, it hadn't run as good as we're used to running here so far, but tonight may be another story. You know, we've been working on the thing since we got here. It's a really nice car. It's brand new. The guys have worked they've put their hearts and souls to this thing. So we're going to wait and see. I believe it'll be pretty good.
Mark, I see guys running around changing air pressure or something. And is that something that is done commonly before a race, or did you all of a sudden say, okay, let's drop it one? I mean, is there a decision you can make right before without getting in the car?
That's just basically a little bit of extra air in the tires so that you can set them exactly where you want. Right at the last minute, you let them down to exactly where you want, and basically that's what everybody's doing.
Okay, good luck tonight, Mark. Glenn?
Well, standing by with Dale Earnhardt. He's congratulating the Winston Open winner, Jeff Gordon. And, hey, we talked to you before the Open. Now you've had a chance to see the cars. Any thoughts now?
Worried about this kid. I don't know. You know, the 28 car is awful strong. That's the one we're really concerned with. He's been good on long runs and short runs. So it's just going to be an interesting night. Hopefully we're in good shape for the last 10 laps. Win, in the top 4 is where I like to be, and maybe we can race them then.
Well, question for both of you now. Of course, Jeff had a chance, but there was a lot of concern about whether the Hoosier tires would be so quick for so long. Seems to be answered now.
Well, I think it's sort of evened out, and Jeff's car was working awful strong out there, and I just hope we can get our car working that good a little better.
Any inversion strategy? If the fans vote to invert this thing, any of you guys going to lay back and wait?
You know they're going to vote to invert it, so we'll just have to see what the car's doing. If it goes front, I'm going to be in the front all the time.
It's definitely going to be inverted. We know that. I think my car's really good for about 5-6 laps, so we got to work on a little bit for the next 4 or 5 for that 10-lapper.
All right, folks, see how happy and how friendly these guys are standing here right now? Give them about 10 minutes.
Now, that's another great Saturday night short track tradition, especially and still in the Northeast. They take the fast cars and start them in the rear every Saturday night, so after this first segment, the fans may well vote to invert the field. Here's the pole sitter, Rusty Wallace, whose Buddy Parrott-led crew had that great pit stop in his qualifying run, and he ran a couple of great laps to win the pole. Let's go down to Randy Pemberton with Kyle Petty.
Kyle Petty here. We talked to Michael Waldrop earlier. His first test with the new sheet metal on the Pontiac. He didn't give it really a good chance to see what would happen. How's your car running? What do you expect here tonight?
I wish I knew. I think, we come with the car under the new configuration with 3 inches and 2 inches or whatever. We're still trying to figure it out. We hadn't been fast since we've been here. Had a great pit stop, and that's what qualified us where we were. Other than that, we'd have been the dead last car. They should have made us start behind the open cars. That's how slow we were. But, hopefully, once they start racing, we'll be pretty good in the 30-lap segments, hopefully. I don't know about the 10-lap segment, though.
Also, you have a chance at halftime or whatever to make adjustments on these cars, so I guess even if you're off, you can fix it.
Oh, yeah, and I'm living proof of that. I mean, in 92, when we came here, we run 17th or 18th in the first segment and led the whole second segment from wire to wire and won that one, and then had a shot at winning the whole thing. So, one adjustment can put you over the top in this race.
Good luck.
We'll be back to meet more of the superstars of stock car racing about to take off in the Winston Select. The Stock Car Racing's All-Star Night continues live on TNN. Who will win the Winston Select? We posed that question to some of the brightest minds in stock car racing, and then we asked our announce team. Let's go down to pit road.
Well, Mike, originally I thought that Jeff Bodine would be the guy to beat. I think he's been sandbagging a little bit, holding back. But also, I got to call a dark horse as Jeff Gordon. Randy?
I can only pick one guy. I'm not going to go too far out on the limb. I'll pick the hottest driver in the series this year. I got to go with Ernie. This car has just been stout. I think it's going to be stout again tonight. I got to go with Ernie Irvan. Mike Joy?
Well, I'm going to go to Buddy Baker.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I can't go away from Dale Earnhardt on this race. It's one of his types of races. That's my pick.
Well, you guys have taken the first 5 choices, but the other fellow I know who is really feeling racy is Rusty Wallace. He's in a Ford this year. He's won this race before. Might just do it again. We'll talk to some more of these fellows as they get ready to roll in the Winston Select right after this word. Stay with us live on TNN for the fireworks. Almost a full moon Saturday night. It sure was a full moon over turn 1 in that 9-car pileup in the Winston Open as we get ready to rumble here in this 3-act opera.
It is that. Look at the people against the fence here looking over at their favorite driver, waving their hats. They run in there and got those old hot dogs and making that smoke up there near the top up there.
This race has a format of 3 segments, 30 laps, and 10 laps for a total of 70 laps or 105 miles. They'll take a 10-minute break between segments where the teams can do normal work on the car as they would in a regular Winston Cup pit stop. One of the fellows who was a pre-race pick had some fast practice laps, and some folks thought he was sandbagging in qualifying. How about it? Let's find out from the starting grid.
Well, this was my pre-race pick, and I'm the guy that said I thought he might be holding back, sandbagging a little bit. Is that true?
No, we haven't been sandbagging. This isn't Daytona Beach. This is Charlotte. There's no sand here in Charlotte.
Okay, no sand, but what about it? You've got an awfully fast car, turned in one of the fastest laps in your qualifying lap. Got to feel good about it.
Yeah, the car's working good, and, you know, we just saw a race where the Hoosiers looked pretty good out there, so we're hoping that the Exide 7 runs equally as well as some of those other boys in that other race, maybe just a little bit better.
Okay, we're going to go on down up the line now to Randy Pemberton, who's with Rusty Wallace.
Fans going wild in the background. Rusty's ready in the Miller Genuine Draft Ford. What about it, Rusty? Can you go to victory lane tonight?
We got a good, strong car. I hope we can do it. You know, I'm not feeling concerned about the first 30. I know we'll run good there, but getting from the back of that second 30 to front, we'll see what happens.
You think anybody else sandbag?
I don't know. I think there's a bunch of them back there going to do it. They might be getting. I think there's a lot of cars going to be fighting, trying to get to the back, so I get a good starting spot to start with.
Good luck, Rusty.
Thank you.
Now, they talk about sandbagging. That's where a driver wouldn't run up to his full potential, hoping to finish in the back of the first segment. As you heard Dale Earnhardt say, of course they're going to invert. If the fans vote to invert the running order at the end of the first segment, those drivers who finished in the back would then start up front, and that could be an advantage.
Boy, it's like playing chess, but there's a lot of money involved, and also, let me tell you, anytime $50,000 is up for grabs, those guys are going for it. It don't matter about strategy.
Well, a bit of a wave going on here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. As we get set for the anthem and the command to fire off this field. 20 of the best in stock car racing. As we said, during the breaks, between segments, the teams will be allowed to add gas, change tires. The booing is because the wave kind of fizzled out about halfway down there. Adjust spoiler angle and add the rubber spring donuts. They cannot change springs, shocks, sway bars, or carburetors. If there's a red flag period, as we've already seen, the teams would be allowed to work on their cars. Among the 100,000 here, Indianapolis Motor Speedway President Tony George is here with 4-time 500 winner Rick Mears, who flew in tonight, watching from the condos in turn 1. Getting set now for presentation of colors. And Linda Davis, who won a Grammy for her hit duet Does He Love You with Reba McEntire. She'll sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last beaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glass of bombs bursting in air gave proof of
Linda Davis with the national anthem, to very much the approval of the crowd. Now the words that over 100,000 folks here have been waiting for.
Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible national anthem fly-by tonight to the United States Air Force F-15s was performed from the 335th Squadron, 4th Tactical Wing at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base.
And now, what you have waited for all night long, the President and CEO of Davenport Incorporated, Mr. Tommy Davenport.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
At long last, they fire off the engines that'll power the 20 fastest stock car drivers in the nation.
Well, Mike, I'm sure everybody watching this program is ready to see this thing get underway. I'm going to tell you what, it's like waiting on a prize fight or any major event that you go to. This is what everybody comes to see, is this event right now, and I guarantee you one thing, they will not leave disappointed. Terry Labonte's car there.
Ricky Rudd's ready to roll. Let's have a look at the starting lineup for the all-star race, the Winston Select. Rusty Wallace won this in 1989. He won 10 races last season, and already he's won 2 this year. He's on the pole. Ernie Irvin, current Winston Cup point leader with 3 victories, has 3 Winston Selects under his belt. Best finish in this race, 3rd last year. Row 2, Dale Jarrett, last year's Daytona 500 champion, makes his 3rd all-star appearance, but he's crashed both times out in this event. Row 2, Jeff Bodine, last year's winner at Sears Point to get into the all-star tilt, won the Daytona 500 in '86, finished 5th in this race last year. Row 3, Terry Labonte, won at North Wilkesboro last month to end a 5-year winless skid. Won this all-star event in 1988. Outside row 3, Ricky Rudd has won at least one event in each of the last 11 seasons. He's been in every Winston Select. Finished 4th in 1992. Row 4, Bill Elliott won this race in 1986 when it was at Atlanta. 2-time Daytona 500 winner. Outside row 4, Morgan Shepherd, his 8th appearance in this classic. 3 of his 4 career wins have come on the 1.5 miles at Atlanta, very similar to Charlotte. Row 5, Kyle Petty makes his 6th all-star start. Involved in that last lap shootout 2 years ago with Earnhardt and Allison. Outside row 5, Blake Speed is in his first Winston Select since 1990. Former winner at Darlington, currently 7th in the points. Row 6, Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, the only 3-time winner of this race, 6-time national champion with 11 Charlotte victories. Outside row 6, Mark Martin, winner of 4 straight races last year, a close runner-up to Earnhardt in the final 10-lap shootout in last year's All-Star race. Row 7, Darrell Waltrip won the first Winston in 1985, 3-time Winston Cup champ, 84 career victories. And outside row 7, Sterling Marlin, 2-time winner of the Winston Open, won this year's Daytona 500 to walk his way into the All-Star race tonight. Inside of row 8, Jeff Gordon led the Winston Open last year till he crashed, and this year he took it all. First place prize money and a 15th position start in the Winston Select. Greg Sachs, strong 2nd place finish, will put him in 16th position. Row 9, Ken Schrader missed the 8th row by a foot. He'll start on the inside lane in row 9, former Talladega winner. Jeff Burton, one of the standouts of NASCAR's Busch Series, moves up to the senior circuit and races his way in, as did his brother Ward. Started on the outside pole and earned a last row starting spot in the All-Star tilt, as did Joe Nemechek, the pole sitter for the Winston Open. He will start shotgun on the field in 20th position as the field gets set to roll out behind the pace car. Those are the All-Stars, and this is the event. We'll be back Aerial fireworks now, on-track fireworks to come. Don't go away. Pace car has the field in tow for the first of 3 segments on Stock Car Racing's All-Star Night. Those fireworks are nothing compared to what these fireworks are about to look like.
Well, look at the flashbulbs going off. People want to remember this night, I tell you.
Rusty Wallace on the pole, Ernie Irvin, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Bodine, the front 2 rows. And you'll be riding along with Mark Martin. There is the roof cam looking ahead at Lake Speed, and you're on the roof of Mark Martin's car. And over the shoulder cam tonight, there's the cold air tube that goes in to ventilate his helmet. And here's the race cam over his right shoulder that, of course, tilts and fans. For the Valvoline Ford of Mark Martin will have our in-car camera. So will Jeff Bodine. The Exide batteries, Montgomery Ward. Thunderbird. There's the 360-degree race cam. And you'll see the roof cam, much like the driver's own view. And under the rear bumper of Jeff Bodine's car, there's a look back at Ricky Rudd's Chevrolet and Terry Labonte on the right side of your screen. Our third in-car camera belongs to Lake Speed, driving for Bud Moore in the Ford Quality Care Thunderbird. Look at the decals on the outside of that car. We'll show you again in a second. There's the roof cam on Lake Speed.
Mike, that camera right there really shows more of what the driver sees than any camera in there.
And if you were riding along in the mother-in-law seat, and I wouldn't want to, that's what you'd see. And also from the rear bumper of Lake Speed's car. John McKenzie of Motorsports Designs does the decals for most of these cars, and they use Scotch-Lite, reflective material, so that these numbers really pop. They really reflect on a lot of these cars. Earnhardt's has them. You see Lake Speed's has them. So does several others. Getting set to go racing in another lap. The first segment of this event is 30 laps, and the leader at the end of segment 1 takes a $50,000 bonus, $15,000 for second, $7,500 for third. Rusty Wallace has already earned $50,000 for winning the pole. His crew got some of that. They were part of that as part of the pit stop. $10,000 to Ernie Irvin for second, and $5,000 to Dale Jarrett, who qualified third. We've got our 800 number working. If you'd like to call in any questions about this telecast or any questions about as the race unfolds, we'll try to get them answered for you. It's a toll-free call, 1-800-451-7331. They'll take your question and relay it to us up here in the booth. Do you think the black car is going to win it?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I picked Dale Earnhardt, but there's a lot of race cars. I'd say out of the top 20 there, anybody could win.
You know, just a note, but it's the first Winston Select without Davey Allison. It's the first Winston Select without our longtime good friend and partner Neil Bonnet alongside. Alan Kulwicki ran well in this race before we lost him, and we just want the folks to know we're going to enjoy this telecast, but we're going to be thinking of them too.
They'll always be missed.
They'll always be with us. Announced the winner of the Alan Kulwicki Scholarship here earlier, Ryan Zeck of California, going to go to UMC at Charlotte. Our congratulations to him. Well, 30 laps. Who will lead the first segment, and will the fans vote to send him to the rear? Let's find out.
Oh, I bet I can almost tell you what that's going to be. Rusty Wallace gets that jump right there on the 28 car of Ernie Irvin.
And we're racing. Wallace, Irvin, the two black cars line up nose to tail. And they'll bring a third, mostly black car with them. That's Dale Jarrett.
You know, you said something a while ago. Earnhardt won 11 races here at Charlotte. That's more than I started, I think.
I don't think so. There's Earnhardt in car number 3. Here are your front 4. Put Jeff Bodine in that 4th spot. 4 black cars to lead the field. Tell me it's not nighttime, and that's not significant.
Yeah, you see Dale Jarrett running along there quite well. He said he's really hooked up, and his car is handling perfect for him.
The Interstate Battery Chevy. Former Super Bowl winning coach Joe Gibbs owns that car on the right side of your screen, number 18 for Jarrett. Another second-generation driver. Rusty Wallace on the point, right where he wants to be.
Well, he's going to have to work for that spot because that 28 car has been the fastest car. I've talked to different race car drivers all week long, and everybody's told me the same thing. Watch that 28 car. He's strong after about 5 laps.
The pack has split into 3 segments. There's Morgan Shepherd on the outside of Lake Speed. Morgan and the Sitco number 21 of the Wood brothers, and they hit.
A little touch there.
And Mark Martin takes advantage. You're riding with Mark Martin as he moves up under Lake Speed and moves up underneath Morgan Shepherd, and he's got Earnhardt with him.
Look at Earnhardt. The only reason he didn't make it 3 deep is run out of space.
Car in the wall.
Car in the wall up here.
Lake Speed.
Yep.
And we're under caution. Rusty Wallace leads him back to the flag, and pace car can't get up there with him.
I know Lake Speed's glad. He's got a lot of damage to the right side. They need to beat the fenders off the tires there.
When he and Morgan Shepherd got together, Lake Speed's car pedaled back, and something just wasn't quite right on it. He got up into the wall and turned 3.
Something's rubbing there. He's got a flat tire or something.
Takes it down a gear. You can hear that. Can you hear it? Something rubbing in that car.
Yeah, you see the inside filling up with smoke. He's got something dragging pretty hard underneath the car there.
Former world karting champion from Jackson, Mississippi. He drives for a fellow who has a reputation as tough as nails. He's a kind-hearted guy, Bud Moore.
Oh, man, I tell you, he was a good man for me to drive for. I won races with him. I really enjoyed working with him. You see the fire flying out of that car right there? That was
Earnhardt.
That was Earnhardt's car,
There's the
bottoming out a little bit.
Right side of your screen.
That's definitely a right front tire. It looks like it went flat or either a suspension part broke, but he's going up to the wall there. Once he gets in the wall, he does a good job to stay up there until these cars get by. He didn't jerk it off the wall there.
Dale Earnhardt has come to pit road. Right side tires for Earnhardt. Lake Speed is in the pits. So is Joe Nemechek.
You know, Mike, a lot of times, like you see Earnhardt in the pits there, he just felt something wasn't right, and it's better to take a chance and take these tires on than have a problem. They're on the right rear there. They're having a problem with the right rear tire right at the moment on Earnhardt's car. That's Lake Speed's car. They're still working on it. You can see the smoke coming out from under it where it's been dragging all the way around the racetrack. They're beating the fenders out there.
Earnhardt's away after getting right side tires. One more lap will go racing.
Yeah, it's getting pretty serious for Lake Speed. That car needs about a full lap of work before it's really ready to go back in there.
And it's not going to get it as the light is out on top of the safety car.
I'll tell you what, Earnhardt and them are really going to have to get with it. They're about a half a lap behind right now. Is that
I'm not sure if we're going green. Yeah, the light was out on top of the safety car, but the caution flag still waves. So now we'll go 1 to go. So Earnhardt, you don't think the fans like this? A chance to watch Earnhardt come from all the way in the back to all the way in the front? Oh, here's another new wrinkle for this race. Double file restart. Let's show you in real
double
time.
Double file restart.
Yeah. Let's show you in real time what Lake Speed saw.
Well, he's right on the bottom. They make her touch there. Now, that probably done just enough damage to knock a toe end out, maybe cut that right front tire down on a little bit of jagged metal off the 21 car, Morgan Shepherd. He goes down in the corner here. You can see right there, it goes up, hits the wall, holds it up there, luckily. If he'd have come across the racetrack, somebody would have removed the left side sheet metal for him.
I'll bet it felt a lot harder than it sounded. Randy is in Dale Earnhardt's pit. Randy?
Well, they didn't want to say exactly what they did to the car, but all they, I talked to Richard Childers just briefly, just said they wanted to bring it in. Wasn't exactly right, so they went ahead and changed tires. I asked them if they stuck a rubber in the right rear. It was kind of like a no comment, so I really don't think they did. They pulled some tape off the grill, buddy.
Okay, what they might have had there, if they had a lot of tape on the front, it might have been getting planted too hard and making the car loose, so it might put a little tape off like that to make the front end a little bit lighter.
We'll find out as we go back to green. 6 laps complete. This is a 30-lap segment. First of 3 rounds. Ernie Irvin goes for the lead on the high side.
Whoa, there's contact there between Rusty Wallace.
Watch Dale Jarrett in the green and black car take advantage on the bottom. Ricky Rudd is right with him in the tide ride, and here comes Mark Martin, 3 wide. You're with Mark Martin.
Mike, what you're seeing there is just loss of momentum. He lost about 5 spots there, just getting back up to speed again.
Look at those cars dance around. They are right on the edge of control at nearly 180 miles an hour.
See Sterling Marlin moving there with Jeff Gordon. Jeff trying to make a pass on the inside there. Right behind him, Darrell Waltrip's moving up.
Waltrip with 17. Marlin's in the yellow number 4 car, the Kodak car. Jeff Gordon has come from 15th to 9th.
Well, he must be handling a little bit hard right now because a lot of cars that were in the Winston Open are passing him there on the outside going in the corner.
Running order at 8 laps. Morgan Shepherd and Kenny Schrader moving up. Now here's Mark Martin. You're riding in the Valvoline Ford.
Boy, that car is getting in the corner, Mike. That's exactly what it looks like, folks. That's the actual time there. When you used to go down in the corner, that's what it looked like when you're gaining on the car in front of you.
Back straightaway, and look at those cars work on the suspension, up and down.
Yeah, the suspension's working, the sheet metal's working, the driver's working, everybody's working right now. Look at his head when he goes in the corner here. I guarantee you it'll look like he's doing the Watusi.
Rusty Wallace can drop a spot to Jeff Gordon here. He's fallen to the tail end of the front pack. And that puts him in 9th place.
Are they inverting or not? Have we got the vote yet?
They don't want to tell them.
Oh, I see. That's a little halftime tell-all.
After the segment, they'll announce the results of the voting. Up on the high side, Sterling Marlin in the Morgan McClure Racing number 4.
Now, that is definitely a power move there. Anytime you can pass a car here on the outside going through the corner, you have a good handling race car. So the fast way is right on that white line around the bottom.
And he takes Jeff Gordon along with him. It is now an 11-car breakaway. Darrell Waltrip's tacked onto that pack.
I tell you, Sterling Marlin right now, he's probably the most improved position car in the race. He is moving right on up to the front. You see, that's Jeff Godine's car on the outside there. I think he sees the presence of the 4 car there.
Morgan Shepherd and Kenny Schrader battle. Now that's in the 2nd pack. 2nd pack, Schrader, number 25, came out of the Winston Open. So did 31. Ward Burton, that's Bill Elliott up high, and Junior Johnson's Ford, the Budweiser number 11. And there's Earnhardt. Right in the middle of that pack. He's come from the back after a pit stop. Side by side, Ward Burton's Hardy Chevy and the Bud Ford.
Ooh, look at Earnhardt coming up on the outside there. Woo.
Trouble.
We got a straightaway down the front straightaway here.
Jeff Bodine came down the whole front straightaway backwards.
Whoa.
He gets it stopped. Now he can breathe. So can we.
Wow, we're going to break. We'll be back in a few minutes, folks. Woo.
We'll have a look at it when we come back. Caution is out.
Tonight's exclusive coverage of the Winston Select on TNN is being brought to you by Splitfire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more till you use it.
Dale Earnhardt completes a pit stop under the caution. They changed, I believe, 4 tires this time.
Mike, what probably happened, he may have a little bit of a tire out of adjustment or something, or the balance in this bamming around on him, and he's just got the time right now. He don't have that many positions to move back to the rear, so he's just coming in trying to get that car right.
Now they're trying to get it really racy for these next couple of segments. Let's show you what happened to Jeff Bodine in the number 7 car. That's Sterling Marlin in yellow.
Okay, Jeff looks like he's coming over there. They make contact right here, right against the wall there. You see the 4 car? They just barely touch. Now the 4 car
kept coming.
Yeah. Well, you know, you don't know what to do in a situation like that. When a car turns sideways like that, a lot of times you're better off to help him get on out of the way than to just collect everybody that's in that wad there.
Now, let's show you, is it rear bumper or is it thumper cam?
Okay, right here is where they make contact. He did not see him on the outside there and pulled over, and that's all it takes, folks.
We're not moving the camera, folks. That's the car going around. Here comes a 175-mile-an-hour lawnmower and almost gets trashed there.
Mike, that's the one I don't like to see. That one when they're sitting still there. As long as they're moving fast, it don't really hurt that much. But when you're stopped and everybody else is still running 185 miles an hour, that's dangerous.
So Jeff Bodine flat-spotted the tires, came in and got 4 new ones, and is again ready to roll. No damage to that car.
You know, that's the only blind spot in the race cars, coming out of the corner on the right rear corner over there. You really have to watch that corner.
We have 15 laps complete in this first segment, halfway. We'll be right back. Tell you what, let's stay with it here, because in one lap we're going to go racing. We'd intended to go to break, but we want to show you the racing under green, so let's hang with it here. Now Jeff Bodine comes back in, and so does Lake Speed for a little more work. They'll tack on to the back end of the field. And let's get an update on pit stops. Here's Randy.
Well, besides Jeff Bodine, of course, Lake Speed in that first wreck, they had a tow-out problem on the front of the car, so they were trying to adjust that. Now they're working on the rear of the car. Dale Earnhardt was also in, 4 new tires on that car. Evidently, the car possibly bottoming out. We'll try and get a word with Richard Childress or Andy Petrie about that. Rusty Wallace also in, 4 tires for Rusty Wallace, a round of wedge out. That car is pushing, Rusty's car.
Thanks, Randy. We're working the second caution. Just completed now. This one for Jeff Bodine's spin down the front stretch. First one was for Lake Speed's crash at lap 4 up in turn 3. Let's get a report on Jeff Bodine's car. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, after the spin, they came in and changed all 4 tires and bumped the rear spoiler up. Jeff was complaining that the car was a little bit loose before that spin. Also, this time he came in, they took some tape off the grill, so evidently he had a pretty loose condition on the race car. That should have tightened it up some. We'll see shortly.
Thanks, Glenn. 2 Fords and 2 Chevys in the front rows. Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett lined up. In row number 2, Ricky Rudd with Mark Martin, then Sterling Marlin. And look where Jeff Gordon has come all the way up to 6th place.
I'd say he's on the move. Wow. There, the Bonnie's car got a little sideways. I think you're having a little traction problem there. That's what Rader said. He broke loose a little bit on the restart a while ago.
On the outside of Ricky Rudd, making the move and coming up a spot, Mark Martin.
For a guy that's not running well, he's doing pretty well, isn't he?
He looked like the Grimace before the race. Here comes Earnhardt. He just blew past Jeff Burton and Ken Schrader. Earnhardt in black, number 3.
You know, Mike, Earnhardt, his whole crew has been together so long that they communicate so well. They can make adjustments during a race and just absolutely take the cars out of the ballpark and put it right up front.
In one lap, Earnhardt came from 18th to 12th on first tire. Make that 11.
That's about par for him. He's on his way, folks. He needs to drive it in the corner just a little bit harder. What do you think?
I think out the other side if he does, but he gets past Morgan Shepherd here. Now here comes Shepherd right back by him.
I just fixing to say, that's 2 hard-driving rascals right there together. I'll guarantee you one thing. It won't be as easy to do as you think.
Those 2 raced hard together in late model sportsman, now Busch Grand National Racing. Earnhardt takes the spot. Jeff Gordon moves up to 5th. Ricky Rudd in a Ford drops to 6th. Here comes Darrell Waltrip on the bottom.
Easy.
10 laps to go in this first segment. The leader at the end of this segment, $50,000.
See Ward Burton moving in there with Darrell and those guys. He seems to be hooked up very well. He's passing Ricky Rudd now on the inside through the number 2 corner there.
All right, Ward Burton came up from the Winston Open. There's Terry Labonte battling Ricky Rudd and taking a spot. Here comes Bill Elliott.
And Earnhardt, look where Earnhardt's come to already. He's trying to get on the inside of Bill Elliott right now.
Earnhardt is 11th. He restarted 18th. This time the pack is split in 2 sections. Well, 3 sections. Ernie Irvan, then everybody else, then the second pack.
You know, I was watching Bill Elliott just then. He's running a little bit higher line, but he seems to get more momentum off the corner. He pulled away from Earnhardt just a little bit off the corner there.
Earnhardt after him now. Bill Elliott, number 11. That red Ford. And Dale Earnhardt. Combined, they have 4 wins in the 9 years of this race. 3 for Earnhardt, 1 for Elliott.
That's 2 of the best right there. Bill Elliott, you watch him now. Off this corner, he's got that momentum. It's going to take a pretty fair race car to get by him on the bottom there.
Now, these drivers are 3.5 seconds behind race leader Ernie Irvan, whose Robert Yates Hamilton Ford has taken a walk out front. Battle for 3rd place. Sterling Marlin gets around Mark Martin.
And there's Jeff Gordon moving in, trying to get under. He won't make it this time, though.
Now, that's in the first pack of cars behind Irvan. Dale Jarrett has got a little margin on this group. They're way in the distance. You see Ernie Irvan from Mark Martin's car.
Sterling Marlin said he had a good race car. He wasn't kidding anybody, I'll tell you that.
Well, 3rd, 4th, and 5th here. 2nd place way out front. That'll be Dale Jarrett. Ernie Irvan. 6 laps to go in this first segment. There's Darrell Waltrip, Ward Burton, Labonte, Bill Elliott, Dale Earnhardt, and Ricky Rudd battle now for 10th place.
I noticed Ricky's left side when he come down the straightaway then threw a little bit of spark. I don't know whether he might be having a little bit of handling problems or what.
He worked his way up to the front, and now he's dropping back just a bit. 5 to go in this first segment as you watch from our Ray Bestis aerial platform. Best in Brakes bringing you these views. Oh, Elliott and Earnhardt are going at it.
Oh, well, they've done it many a time here. The pass in the grass with these 2 guys you're looking at right here, the famous...
That it was. Now, let's look from this group back up to the leader. There's Ernie Irvan, bottom of your screen. Not quite a quarter of a lap ahead. Now, behind Irvan, the race for second is a strong one. They have caught Dale Jarrett in the Interstate Batteries car.
2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th is a good race. It could go any way right now.
Sterling Marlin in the Kodak Chevy draws a bead on Dale Jarrett.
I know Dale Jarrett's got to be happy that his car is working as well as it is. They had a good qualifying time, but I'll tell you, this 4 car is a rocket ship down the straightaway.
They're 1.5 seconds behind Ernie Irvan, and Marlin powers into 2nd place.
And did it the hard way on the outside there.
3 laps to go in this first segment. Leader, when they drop the flag, it's 50 grand. Sterling Marlin started 14th. Had a man over the wall on his pit stop. He would have been further up. Mark Martin on the bottom. You see him loosen up Dale Jarrett just a bit there.
Well, anytime you get up under the back of that car, it's just like putting a shovel under the back and lifting up on it. It sure makes them loose. If you're at least a bit loose, it'll make it twice as bad.
2 laps to go. And they'll wave the caution to end this first segment.
Ernie Irvan in this deal?
I don't recall.
I don't either, but I tell you one thing, it's a pretty solid bet on this first deal.
Whoever had first pick, I think, picked Ernie Irvan. I think that was Randy. No, he picked F09. Glenn Jarrett picked Irvan. Did he not? Caution next time by. That's the planned caution to end the first 30-lap segment. Ernie Irvan. Remember last October when he led all but, what, 8 laps to win a 500?
Boy, this is an awesome combination right here. That's an awfully good race car. Has been for years, but they got a good race car driver in there.
Ring the cash register, $50,000 to Ernie Irvan. Sterling Marlin picks up $15,000. Bill Elliott there just barely holds off, tied number 10 of Ricky Rudd for a position behind Dale Earnhardt. And that is the first 30-lap segment. Remember, we run 30, 30, and 10. Now, Lake Speed is the last car running, and if the fans have voted to invert the field, he will restart up front, and this man will go to the back. We'll be back to Charlotte Motor Speedway after this. We're back live at the Winston Select. Stock Car Racing's All-Star Night at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and it'll be a short night for us. We're going to fly up to Nazareth, Pennsylvania, so we can bring you live from Nazareth the Meridian Advantage 200 Busch Grand National Race. Kenny Wallace is on the pole next to David Green. Dirk Stevens qualified third next to Mike McLaughlin, and Jason Keller is fifth. That's a doubleheader up there with the NASCAR Modifieds. Jeff Fuller and last year's winner Tim Connolly on the front row ahead of Rick Fuller, Jan Leedy, and the great dirt driver Doug Hoffman. We'll be at Nazareth tomorrow at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Hope you'll join us then on TNN Motorsports. 8 minutes, 50 seconds left before the start of the next 30-lap segment. Let's update you. Michael Waltrip is at the hospital. They have x-rayed and found the tip of his right scapula. His shoulder is broken. Loy Allen is sore. He's in x-ray, but he's joking with everybody, so I would guess he doesn't have a broken rib, would you?
Well, they're x-raying him for broken ribs, and you'll cut up for a couple hours. But if he's got broken ribs, he don't have to be x-rayed. He'll know it pretty quick.
Right. You can tune in for all the news and updates on Inside Winston Cup Racing and Race Day tomorrow. Let's get out to Glenn Jarrett with a fellow who has just picked off $50,000 for leading the first segment.
And it looked like a pretty easy $50,000. That didn't look like any trouble at all, not making light of what you did, but car looks like it's flawless.
Car's really good. It's a little loose right now, so we're going to try to tighten it up just a little bit and see if we can make it a little better. You know, some of them guys started coming from the back, and we're pretty strong, so we're going to try to make it a little faster.
Well, they're going to work on the body, too. They got some damage to the to the left side door. They got to get in there right now, so I'm going to let those guys get to work because they got hammers and big tools that can hurt me.
They got damage? How'd anybody catch him? I don't understand. Ernie Irvin just took off and went.
I really enjoyed it.
That's Buddy talking to Linda Davis, who sang the national anthem. Well, let's see, 100,000 people. You played before 100,000 people?
She played in front of 1 million or so. I seen her on the Donahue show the other day. You were incredible. I loved it.
We're going to be right back and talk a little more here on TNN as they get ready to roll the second segment of the Winston Select. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway, where all the exciting action of the Winston Select is being taken place here tonight. The first 30-lap segment is finished. Dale Earnhardt, of course, won this race several times. He's had a little bit of a problem this evening. He came in 9th in that first segment, and they've made a lot of adjustments on the car. Dale, it's showtime now, though, going back to the front.
Well, I don't know. We've adjusted the cars to real tight and right in the center, and hadn't been this tight all week. So we'll adjust on it, and I think we've got a handle on it. Hopefully we'll be all right for this next 30-lap segment. And fine-tuner for the 10. We're ready to go.
Why do you think it got tight? Is it because it got cooler at night and you guys haven't really raced under these type of conditions so far?
Well, it wasn't that tight last night when we practiced, and you know, the tracks had more rubber put on it from races, so maybe that's it. Maybe the track's just tightening up.
Okay, I believe Dale Earnhardt will be going in the front, folks. Let's go up to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Randy, you see the work going on under Jeff Bodine's car right now. That's the right front fender brace that they're replacing. When Jeff spun down through the grass, he lost the fender brace. They're having to put a new one on it, causing the fender to lift up a little bit, causing the car to push. Jeff, any other problems with the car other than the fender brace?
That seems to be our biggest problem right now. That fender was going in. We're losing all our front downforce, making the car push pretty bad. Hopefully they can get it tied out there somehow so we get... These cars are real critical on how you balance the airflow over the front and the back, and with that fender moving in, it was just too much on the back, not enough on the front.
Before the wreck, could you tell how was the car working?
Well, it's pretty good. It got just a little loose right before I got turned around, but I felt like it was going to start coming back in. That's a characteristic of these tires. Run good, loosen up a little bit, and then go again.
Still think the Hoosier tires have got it for the end of this thing?
Well, I hope we can get a good start spot in that last 10. We'll give it our best shot.
Back to you, Mike.
The 1986 winner of the Daytona 500, Jeff Bodine. High atop Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Speedway Club. Folks get dinner and a view.
Oh, we did last night, as a matter of fact. It was excellent.
Yeah, with the Manaforts from Connecticut running their Legends cars and having a good time. And quite the way to see stock car racing. And with us up here in the booth, brand new fan to the sport. As you look at the Turn 1 condos, Linda Davis, who sang the national anthem. First off, great job. But
thank you.
Your first view of this sport.
And is it not the best in town? I tell you what, this has been so exciting. I'm a fan for life now.
You know, well, what was your impression of the sport before you came to see it? What did you think of stock cars?
I didn't realize how fast those cars were going till I got down there on the track. Boy, I didn't really have an opinion. I thought those guys are very brave, but aren't they focused? Those looking at them, you know, in their cars while they were being interviewed, they are really thinking and concentrating, aren't they?
Well, I'm sure you know that from being a performer, being up on stage and performing in front of thousands of people, you need to maintain that focus. Of course, you don't have to worry about that concrete wall.
The danger is not there on stage like it is for these gentlemen.
So now you're a fan for life.
I am a fan and a friend of some of them. I got to talk down earlier, and that is, they're special people.
I'm glad to have you with us.
I am thrilled to be here. Can you tell?
Yes.
May the best one win and be safe.
Thanks for joining us.
We wish you the best in your recording.
Thank you so much.
We've long said that as the clock winds down. If you can come to a stock car race, you'll be a fan for life. Getting set to refire the cars and roll them out for the second segment. Let's go back to Glenn.
Mike, one car that didn't refire was the number 5 car of Terry Labonte. This is Jerry Dehart, the crew chief. Terry, what happened?
Well, what happened was transmission, third gear come out of the transmission. We think it might have busted a cave because we got a little fluid leaking on the track. So rather try to restart the race and tear the car all to heck. We're just going to withdraw it, park it, fix it for next week. It's a good car. We was running pretty good, but the transmission messed up, and that's just, we're out for the night.
Sorry for the problem. Now let's go down to Randy.
Well, also Lake Speed, they're wondering if they're going to start this next segment. He was involved in that first accident. They still have a tow-out problem in the front end. They're still working on that. They say the track bar is also bent. Of course, a lot of damage on the right-hand side of this car, possibly a fluid leak as well. So this team, all over this car, they've got like 0 seconds to get this car back to the line. There's a possibility they may not get back out there to start the second segment.
Car owner Bud Moore will celebrate 50 years as a veteran of D-Day at Dover in June, be honored by many of his four-number drivers, including you.
Yeah, I tell you what, he certainly deserves anything that they might possibly. I hope they can get this car fixed because it will be on the pole for this second segment if they can get it. He is rolling towards the start-finishing line right now.
As Terry Labonte rolls into the garage. Here's our Napa Field summary to show you how they will restart the second segment. They did vote to invert the field. No surprise there. So Lake Speed and Greg Sachs, no surprise there, will be on the front row. They'll be in Fords. Kyle Petty's Pontiac and Ken Schrader's Chevy in row 2. Row number 3, Jeff Bodine and Rusty Wallace in Ford Thunderbirds. Row number 4, Joe Nemechek's Chevy, who started last, and Morgan Shepherd's Thunderbird. Row 5, Jeff Burton and Ricky Rudd. They're both driving Fords. Row 6, Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt side by side. Row 7 would be Terry Labonte and Ward Burton, but with Labonte out, everybody else moves up a spot. Then Darrell Waltrip and Jeff Gordon in Chevys. Mark Martin's Ford and Dale Jarrett Chevrolet. Then in row 10, Sterling Marlin and the leader at the end of segment 1, Ernie Irvin, who has $50,000, and what it bought him was a spot in the back for the restart.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, after this segment's over, they start heads up the way they finish this segment, so there's a lot of strategy here. I've heard that Kyle Petty's car has been running super good. The one thing I am concerned about, though, Mike, they said the 15 car was losing a little bit of fluids. Let's hope not, because everybody's behind him.
That's right. Lake Speed is on the pole as you watch from the Ray Bestis helicopter-mounted camera. Best in Brakes. Thanks, Ray Bestis, for helping provide these pictures. Interesting questions on our 800 line. Stephanie from Illinois wanted to know how many cameras TNN has tonight. 17, if you count each of the in-cars as one camera. And Lake Speed is down on the track apron and may be going to the rear. Now, in this second segment, again, it's 30 laps, and the leader at the end of segment 2 gets $50,000. And the way they are running at the end of segment 2 is the way they will start for the finish. Lake Speed will restart this race of his own choice at the rear.
Boy, that's a good move on their part. Find out whether it's right or not. Don't start in front of this crowd with a problem.
1 to go. Question from Ricky in Florida on our 800 line. Where's Elmo Langley?
Right out there in the pace car.
Driving the pace car out front. Okay. Let's get an update on the cars that will restart in the back. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, the car starting last, the 28 car, other than Lake Speed now. Ernie Irvin, believe it or not, they thought they could improve the car. They took a little bit of bite out of the car, tried to, or put a little bit of bite in the car, tried to tighten it up just a little bit. Also, the 18 car of Dale Jarrett, they took some bite out of it, and also they stiffened up the front springs, having a little bit of problem getting in the corner. It was a little tight getting off, so they adjusted both ends of that race car. We'll see if it works.
And when they say they took some bite out,
that means they loosen it up. And if they put it in, that means they're tightening it up by making the left rear stronger or softer. That's what you do. You raise it or lower it to make it push or loosen the car up. That's a little technical talk, folks, but what it means is you're fixing a problem you have. The 4 car, if they done anything to it, they ought to be whipped.
Hey, Josh from Arkansas has a question. You know, all the new cars have these new center high-mounted brake lights in the rear window. He says, why don't these cars have them?
Boy, this bunch right here would have you scared to death all night long. If they had brake lights on these things, they'd drag that left foot on it down halfway down the straightaway. You'd think there's a wreck in front of you, and you'd have some wrecks on the racetrack.
Basically, the drivers have a pretty good sense of when everybody else is on the brake.
Okay, what they do, if there's a real problem in front, they'll put their hands up and wave like that, and they don't play with that, but you would if you had some little device like a brake light.
We're getting set for the second 30-lap segment. This will be followed by the 10-lap shootout for $200,000. Kyle Petty, Terry Labonte's car in the garage. Lake Speed at the tail end of the field.
Right now, the left knee's jumping just a little bit. It'll get all smoothed out when the green flag's out.
And it's about to be. Holding them down for the restart.
Wow.
Kyle Petty has a big jump there. Off to turn 1, and we are under green. Kyle Petty leads this field. Greg Sachs right with him. Jeff Bodine in 3rd. Kenny Schrader up high in 4th. Rusty Wallace in 5th. Morgan Shepherd down on the bottom, and then number 21 of the Wood Brothers. Sachs to the front.
Wow.
What happened to Kyle Petty? A lot of shuffling of the pack. Earnhardt moving up. You're with Mark Martin down on the bottom behind Bill Ellis. Something wrong with Kyle Petty's car. Well, they used to say in the modified ranks when this fella got in front that they were having a Side by side, Rudd on the bottom. Nemechek up high. Here comes 3 wide. Mark Martin's going to stuff it into turn 3, 3 abreast.
Yeah, well,
I think Ricky Rudd made the right move there. He pedaled it going into that corner.
yes, he did. We're having a little audio problems right now, but you can see one thing for sure. That the 28 car is absolutely flying. I thought the 4 car might have something for the car of Ernie Irvin's, but he is not able to keep up.
Apologize for audio difficulties in the transmission. First time Greg Sachs has ever led the All-Star race. Ricky Rudd in number 10 and Bill Elliott battle side by side.
You see Ernie Irvin moving up there, and it looked...
And at second place, Ken Schrader's gone around the outside of Jeff Bodine.
The big part is the number 2 car has moved back into about 4th spot now. I mean, he's having a hard time of it. He was all the way up in the 2nd, and he slid back to 4th right now. Rusty told me he thought he had a really good car.
You're with Jeff Bodine as he runs down Kenny Schrader. Up in turn 3. Look at Schrader get up the racetrack.
Well, I think what we have now, we have a move around because it seems the outer groove was coming in just a little bit ago when Bill Elliott was moving around.
Single file. Greg Sachs is now checked out on the field. And Jeff Gordon moves around Ricky Rudd in the number 24 DuPont car.
That's Ward Burton there in the middle. You see Sterling having to go at it with Jeff Gordon there.
And here's Rusty Wallace and Jeff Bodine, nose to tail for 3rd place. There's 2nd place Kenny Schrader coming into the picture.
You see Morgan Shepherd moving in there also. He's really having a good run. That car seems to be set, and I tell you, if these cars can just stay like they are, they're going to have a tremendous advantage over cars back in the field when they go for this last segment.
From the back of Bodine's car, looking over the black Ford of Rusty Wallace.
Well, apparently whatever was wrong with the toe end on the 7 car, they fixed it during that little break there.
There's your front 5, back through Morgan Shepherd. Long gap back to that next pack. They're a little deep in it. You have Nemechek, Elliott, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, and Ricky Rudd.
See Sterling Marlin using that low line through the corner there. Now watch Bill Elliott, just momentum off.
And Rusty Wallace moves around Jeff Bodine. That'll put Wallace up into 3rd. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt's moved around a pack of cars, including Ernie Irvin and Mark Martin. Oh, 3 wide. Gordon moves up a notch.
It don't take it long to get back to 2 wide when they start in that corner. You think you're brave until you look at that wall coming at you, and you'll get that 3rd lane back in position.
That's right. So now Schrader has run down the race leader.
There goes Jeff Burton up inside the 11 car Bill Elliott.
At the front, Kenny Schrader's there.
Boy, is that impressive. Sachs had pulled out about a 25 car length lead there, and Schrader ran him down in about 4 laps.
Schrader's got more 2nd place finishes in this event than anybody, but he has yet to win it. Ernie Irvin on the bottom. Ward Burton is the meat in the sandwich. You can't buy that one at Hardee's. He just slipped out of it. And right back in it. There's still 3 wide.
Whoa, whoa, boys. Uh-oh, there we go.
Tough break for the rookie, Ward Burton. He goes down through the grass, spins it around. Thought he had it saved, and around he goes again. Caution flag.
Lock it down.
Now the leaders have not gotten the caution, but Kenny Schrader has gone to the lead. They will come around and get the caution flag this time. In NASCAR Winston Cup racing, the restart lineup is determined by how they come to the caution flag after the incident.
Right. Well,
so now the lineup will freeze with Schrader in front, Sachs in 2nd, Wallace in 3rd, Bodine 4th, Morgan Shepherd 5th, and Ernie Irvin moved around Dale Earnhardt 6th.
Even though the caution lights were out, Mike, the biggest thing you got to remember is they have spotters up here, and they say, okay, it's clear through there.
So Ward Burton gets back running again, and we are under caution. We'll be right back.
Tonight's exclusive coverage of the Winston Select on TNN is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
We're under caution. They went into the corner 3 wide. Ward Burton was in the middle. And things happened. Ernie Irvin on the bottom. Dale Earnhardt up high.
Okay, Dale was in perfect spot there. They just got together pretty much as Jeff Bodine did a while ago. Now, he was real lucky right here. You see the flaps fly up to keep that car down on the ground, keep it from flying. But he's real lucky right here that he didn't see him lock the rear wheels there. He turned the brake loose there and almost made a mistake. He should have locked her down right there and let it slide, which he did here, and it holds it down.
I think he might have thought he had it saved, but he still had one wheel spinning on the grass, and around it went. What kind of contact was there up here, buddy?
Okay, this is just 3 cars racing very hard. You see Ward Burton there. He thinks he's clear of Earnhardt, but he didn't. They made a little contact there, and that's all it takes. That car is very light over that bump there. Now, you talk about somebody lucky with Mark Martin. He almost collected that wreck.
In the 6th car.
Right.
And let's show you it as Mark Martin saw it. Watch the 2 cars on the right.
Okay, you'll see what we're talking about right here. See, Ward thinks he's passed you up. He got a little sideways there on his own.
And then just brushes the left front corner of Mark Martin's car. 1 lap and we'll go racing. Pace car, to answer Richard's question from Canada, moving at 55 miles an hour around the Speedway here. Brian from Georgia, who's new to the sport, wants to know how they decided the format for this race. Well, kind of by trial and error the first few years. They ran it as 100 laps straight and then decided on this 3-round format. It's not a circus, it's an auto race.
You see Ward Burton there stopped on the inside of the racetrack here. Right in the middle of 4 down here.
And we'll stay under caution a lap, it looks like.
He's got her fired up again, moving on his own power.
They set up this race, or this format, for the fans. Give a race that the fans would enjoy and long remember, and so far it's worked.
You know, I like his double restart, too. I think that adds a little flavor to it, but it's not a 3-ring circus. This is a special event, folks, and I'll tell you something. You talk about hard-nosed racing, it's right here.
Ward Burton stopped because his seatbelt came unbuckled, had to fasten himself back up. Ballard from California noticed that Jeff Gordon got this work on his car during the red flag. That's normally not allowed, but it is in this race. Because it's an all-star race, and it's a special event, the fans want to see all the drivers out there. As much as they can work during the red flag.
If I told you this is the first lap that Kenny Schrader's ever led in the Winston Select, I can't hardly believe it, but we got a man up here that knows it all, and that's the first lap that Kenny Schrader has ever led. He's been second 3 times.
And on the restart, it's Greg Sachs as Schrader doesn't come up to speed quite so quickly. He loses second. Jeff Bodine. Now Schrader, is he up to speed in that 25 car?
Not quite yet. You know, he had a terrible restart a while ago. I see somebody falling back through the pack there.
As Earnhardt came underneath them 3 wide.
Yeah, that'd be a good reason to fall back.
Joe Nemechek drifting back a bit.
Ooh.
Rusty.
Earnhardt and Rusty.
Oh, no.
Oh, easy. Oh, nope. No, man.
When that starts to happen.
Uh-oh, Earnhardt got hit on the front straightaway by Jeff Gordon. That was even ahead of the wreck that we were watching.
When a car starts to go loose at 180 miles an hour here, it's hard to get it back. The fans flock to the fence as the 3-time winner of this race, Dale Earnhardt, has his car in the wall, and Rusty Wallace on pit road.
Tremendous amount of damage on the right rear quarter panel of Rusty Wallace's car, but look at Earnhardt's car. I mean, there's not a straight piece on it. That's a real shame.
Look at how far the rear axle's been moved over to the right outside the body.
Now, that's a good example. See, Earnhardt was down under, and they just barely touched, but they did hit. Earnhardt got into him just a little bit, and that particular place on the racetrack, it turned him right around. Even as great a driver as Rusty Wallace is, he couldn't save it.
Earnhardt's going to have to pop the right side window out to climb out as Jeff Gordon comes to the pits. You see they have a release button on the inside of that window. The left side's up against the wall. He can't get out that way. So he's going to pop himself out the right side.
Let me tell you something. That's one thing I really don't like. Being against that wall like that. Now, you don't know whether it's on fire or not. You see all that smoke coming up in there from all the tires rubbing and everything. He wanted out, that baby.
Dale Earnhardt.
Look at here.
Is okay. And walks away. He will not win his fourth All-Star race tonight.
Loose.
A wave to the crowd. But it's a short end of the day for Dale Earnhardt. The defending champion of this race will walk home. When we come back, we'll have a look at the replays as Earnhardt takes one of the loneliest walks in sport back to the garage.
Rusty Wallace out of the race. Can you tell us what happened in the wreck?
Well, I started the first turn, did a restart, something happened to Kenny's car, and we got going. Went down into turn 1, and the car was a little bit loose on entry. And after I got going, we went down to back straightaway, and we got real tight draft getting into turn 3, and Dale was real tight to me, and we just touched. Him and I just touched going into 3, and there was no big deal. And the car spun, and that was it.
You talked to Dale. He was all right with it?
Yeah, you know, he just come up and said, "Hey, man, I'm sorry for hitting you." And I said, it doesn't pay any points this race. You know, this is a pretty wide open race, and we were going for it. You know, I had the first segment. Ernie and I got together on a restart, and I knocked the right front fender in, and the doggone car was pushing really bad. So I said, let's get it in and fix it and get going again, you know, so we got a good chance. So we took off, and Kenny had a good run going, and the second segment was really going good for me, and then it was going really good, and then all of a sudden that happened. Okay.
Mike Joy?
So Rusty Wallace will not win his second Winston Select tonight.
You know, Mike, it's nice to see when something like that happens, everybody don't jump out and go, "Oh, he meant to wreck me," or whatever.
No.
You know, it's one of those racing things that happen, and they just got together. And the bad part was Jeff Gordon and the 4-car got together because of that incident and took him out.
Tough break for Jeff Gordon. The initial contact, though, was between Rusty and Mark Martin, who were fighting for the same piece of racetrack. It's a land rush down to turn 1. We're racing.
Let me straighten things out. Jeff Gordon is in the last position. He did continue on. It looked like he might have been out of the race, but the car has to be beat up pretty bad because he was in that wreck with Earnhardt.
3 wide, back straightaway. Darrell Waltrip, who narrowly missed the crash with Schrader, and Ricky Rudd again peels off rather than become a statistic.
Look at Ricky Rudd run in there. He's underneath all 3. We might have a 3 abreast down the front straightaway. Not quite. Schrader's real fast off of that corner.
Side by side, and Greg Sachs goes around and hard into the wall as he and Mark Martin got together. Nemechek just slips past Mark Martin. Are we going to have any cars left to finish this race?
I'm going to tell you what now.
Well, Greg Sachs filed a flight plan and took off into that wall.
Yeah, that was pretty hard lick, yeah.
Caution is out. They race back to the flag to determine the restart order. Jeff Bodine, Ernie Irvin, Sterling Marlin, Kenny Schrader, Darrell Waltrip, Ward Burton, and Ricky Rudd. Then here come Nemechek, Shepard, Jeff Burton, and Jarrett. It's Mark Martin. You see him climbing out. Bill Elliott, Lake Speed, Jeff Gordon, and Kyle Petty. Greg Sachs' car just exploded into the wall.
He's okay. I see him moving around.
Mark Martin is out of the car.
Yeah, Mark's getting back in. He just looked the car over and feels that he might can go on, you know.
He's going to drive it back to the garage. Full moon Saturday night. Let's show you what happens here with 2 white cars.
Okay, I know exactly what happened there. The 2 cars went in the corner there. Greg Sachs, the air was off the rear spoiler, and the car got loose and got up into the 6 car going in the corner there, Mike. When you go in, they're running speeds close to what we used to run in Daytona, and when you go in underneath the car on the bottom side, they'll suck the back right out from under you. See
Watch
right
the top
here?
of your screen.
See him right there? It just turns it around. That's aerodynamics there, folks.
That car hit the wall faster than the jets of the airline that sponsors him take off from the field at Charlotte.
Look at Dale Jarrett hold this car straight all the way down through here. You talk about sideways now. He was looking out the right door window to drive that car.
Mark Martin will drive it back to the garage area. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt makes his way back to his hauler. Randy Pemberton is following along. We'll get a word there in a minute. Look at the damage on the back of Mark Martin's car. Greg Sack's car is a mess. Let's go down to the garage area. Randy Pemberton tracking Dale Earnhardt. Randy?
Dale Earnhardt walking back to the garage area. Dale, how did you see it? What happened?
Well, Rusty got loose, and then, then I was just dodging him. I bumped him in the back. He turned out and turned back in.
All right, obviously Dale Earnhardt upset, guys. He's out.
Earnhardt out of the race. Greg Sacks is now out of the race. He climbed from his car. Not much left there. And Mark Martin will make it back to pit road and to the garage.
Well, Mike, we lost two good race cars just then. I tell you, either one of those cars could have been a factor in the shootout there to the last 10 laps, but they're junk now.
Now that car, Mark Martin's, runs along okay on its wheels, but with those aerodynamics, there's no point in putting that back into the race.
No, I'd say that one's pretty well spent.
Well, it looks good from this side.
Okay, we're going to get an aerial shot going in the first corner here.
Way up
See
front.
the first two cars here? There was no contact whatsoever. The air just got off the rear spoiler and around it goes. Up to the wall, he makes contact with Mark Martin. Now watch how Mark hits here. You talk about a hard lick. He took one, but it was straight in the rear of the car.
And look at Dale Jarrett sliding along the bottom. He almost lost that car up into the wall, but he keeps on going. Now, watch and listen to what it was like where Mark Martin sat. Folks, if you don't have a healthy respect for these fellas after that, let's go down to Randy Pemberton.
Well, Mark Martin, Jack Roush, as well as Steve Meal looking over this brand new car here. That's pretty well destroyed, Mark. Not a nice way to end the evening.
Just proud as I can be of this Valvoline team. I didn't think we were going to run good, and we were in good shape, man. I think we had a car to contend for the win, and I can't ask for any more than that. These guys have worked their heart out to build a brand new car with all the tricks in it that we know how to do. She was pretty awesome.
What happened in that wreck?
Sachs lost it.
Is that your 600 car?
Yes. Be all right. We'll be back, and it'll be as good as new, and we'll run good. I'm proud of these guys. That's two out of 3 for Sachs and me.
Tough break for Mark Martin, who got caught up in that accident. And Greg Sacks started to spin down there. Well, they have red flagged this race once again, and it's starting to look like the play 10 Little Indians, because there are a lot less than there were just a few minutes before. The cars are running, and we're getting set for the restart. 4 laps to go in this second segment. Starting to remind me of that old Johnny Horton song, Battle of New Orleans, because there wasn't quite as many as there was a while ago. Earlier, Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin touch. Dale Earnhardt tries to go under Wallace, and they get together. Here goes Rusty. Sterling Marlin up into Jeff Gordon. It damages his car. Darrell Waltrip sneaks on by as Earnhardt ends up out of the race from this one. Waltrip sneaks right by Earnhardt again. Wonder how many lives that cat has left. And just now, watch Greg Sacks' car on the right side of your screen get a little loose coming in here. And as it goes around, taps Mark Martin, and they both go to the wall.
Been there and done that my own self. I know how that feels. That's a pretty awesome feeling when you're underneath the car and it breaks loose like that.
Getting set for the restart. On our 800 line, let's first show you who's left and where they're running. There's your front 5. And remember, the way they take the caution to end this second segment is the way they'll start the 10-lap shootout.
Well, Mike, we still have 15 really good race cars out there. This thing is not over by a long shot.
Nope. And here are the cars out of the race. Terry Labonte with mechanical trouble and 4 drivers due to accidents.
4 real good race cars out, too, by the way.
Well, we get a bit of a shootout here. 3 laps to go right now. Well, it's Hoosier versus Goodyear on the front row. Jeff Bodine on the Hoosier tires, Ernie Irvin on Goodyear.
I imagine Darrell Waltrip thought there was 2 or 3 of those number 3s out there. He missed him twice in one wreck there.
That's right. That's right. Looking for the restart. Jeff Bodine, who backed the U.S. bobsled team to all new equipment for this year's Olympics, trying to put his car on rails and run it around here these last 2 laps before the caution waves again. Ernie Irvin on the high side, Bodine down low. 2-lap shootout, and they hang tough.
Wow, I'll say. He did a lot of work on the 7-car Bodine to get it this good because he was involved in an accident early on in the first part of this race.
1 to go this time. Bodine and Irvin, the 2 drivers many predicted would be running at the front in this race.
You see the sparks flying there. That's the exhaust pipes under these cars hitting the pavement over the bumps here.
White flag, 1 to go. Then the caution comes out, and then the 10-lap shootout. Darrell Waltrip moves around Ricky Rudd. That's back in 6th place. And there's Morgan Shepherd battling for 8th with Joe Nemechek. With Ricky Rudd, I don't think he's run a lap single file all night.
No, he's raced pretty hard on. Look at the 28 car trying to get by Bodine on the outside. I don't think he'll make that move, but look at him make that move across the grass.
Through the grass. He's gone.
Uh-oh. Oh, man.
Ernie Irvin tried to pick up another check for $50,000. And instead, look what he got.
Wow.
He was 4 wheels. Never mind passing the grass with 2 wheels. He was 4 wheels in the grass. What hasn't happened tonight?
I tell you, when you hit that grass on the inside of the racetrack like that, Mike, it's just like hitting a sheet of ice. They're racing back here with the yell out. I hope they understand this thing needs to be slowed down here.
Jeff Bodine was probably so concerned with Ernie Irvin, he may not have noticed that they were running to the yellow flag. And Irvin becomes the latest driver to walk away.
Wowee.
What hasn't happened tonight?
Well, he made a move to the outside and looked like Bodine might have said checkmate and moved over a little bit, and he made the move to the inside and got the race car out in the grass there. And once he got in the grass, it was pretty well done. Not a happy boy right there, I can guarantee you.
Well, not only did he not pick up the 50 grand, not only did he not end up with a chance to win the $200,000, but he ruined what might have been the best race car here. I don't say he ruined it. It got ruined. Well, folks, let's send you to the refrigerator one more time, and then we'll come back and sort this one out and show it to you again. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Tonight's exclusive coverage of the Winston Select on TNN has been brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. By Havel and Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
Well, welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Winston Select. The most exciting Winston Select I think I've ever seen. Standing with Ernie Irvin, you saw that exciting finish. Ernie, you gave it everything you had. And folks, I want to tell you what a big heart this guy's had, what he's got. The first thing he did after he crashed that car was to come down here and apologize to his pit crew. Ernie, what a way to go out.
Well, it's one of them. I just made a mistake. I shouldn't have tried to pass him like that and end up costing us a good race car. And also cost us maybe winning the Winston. So, I feel bad for these guys because they worked real hard giving me that car and just made a bad mistake.
Yeah, but I did not see one guy in this crew agree with that, that was a bad move. Everybody patted you on the back and said, hey, you were giving it all you had.
Well, they're racers like I am, but I always see one of them deals where I forgot about the big picture and was worried about that one lap.
Well, I think we'll see Ernie around for the big picture for a long, long time. Tough break.
Thanks.
Tough words from a tough guy and a fellow who has really matured as a race driver. I think if you had to put money on somebody to win this championship this year, that would be a strong pick right there, Ernie Irvan. But that move right there was a tough one.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you what, I'm a fan of his, but, you know, he just said something most drivers would never say.
I made a mistake?
Yeah, exactly. They pointed everything else, you know.
From the helicopter.
Okay, he's trying to come by on the outside there, and Bodine comes up just a little bit, so he takes a sharp turn to the left here. Once he hits this grass, watch the car turn sideways right here. Okay, he's along for the ride now. The steering wheel's just something to hang on to.
And from Jeff Bodine's car, here's a final look.
Okay, you see him coming off here. He moves over just a little bit, checkmate, and then this is where everything gets started. Woo! Boy, he hit hard, too, I'm talking about. Look at the back of that car, Mike.
You know, I'm still moved by Ernie Irvan's words. I mean,
so am I.
It's a lot of candor in what he had to say. He knew the flag was coming. He was making a great move to try to win it. It didn't pay off.
Well, he said it all. He said his crew is racers just like him, and they're racers. They were trying to win.
I mean, this fella has really matured. He is a champion caliber race driver. I don't think there's much question about that. But now let's go down to the pits with the crew chief of the leading car. Here's Glenn.
Well, this is Paul Andrew. He is the crew chief on Jeff Bodine's car, and you had some tough competition there. It was a really close battle, but it looks like now your closest competitor took himself out.
Well, you know, it looks that way. You know, Schrader ran real good in that one session. We'll see what happens. Schrader's pretty tough. We'll just have to keep our fingers crossed and, you know, hope this 10-lap gets over pretty quick. The X-Side 4's done pretty good today. We just need to keep it out there and finish this thing, and hopefully we can win it.
Well, now I pegged Jeff as having maybe sandbagged a little before the race started, and you got that grin on your face like the cat that ate the canary.
Well, we won this second segment, and we're awful proud to do that. And, you know, we hadn't been sandbagging, though. The Hoosier tires are real good, and Goodyears are pretty good also. I mean, both of them are right there the same. It's going to be a tough race, you know. We'll see what happens.
Guys, he wants to go talk to his driver right now.
Last win for crew chief Paul Andrews was the 92 Pocono 500. Alan Kulwicki was his driver. Mike from Ohio wants to know, what happened to suspension cam we used to use on TNN races? Well, we'd like to keep it for a while. That's why we didn't bring it out for tonight. There wouldn't be anything left. We'll be right back. Well, we're ready for the shootout. I don't know how this can get any more exciting, but it could. 10 laps to go. Only green flag laps count from this point, and the restarts are single file.
Well, I hope they race this last 10 laps. I need a Valium if they hit anybody on this last little bit here. I'm going to tell you what, this is scary.
Here's your Napa field standing update. Napa, we keep America running. Shows you how they will restart for the final segment. Well, they won't be in rows. They'll be single file. Bodine, Schrader, Ward Burton, and Sterling Marlin. Darrell Waltrip, Morgan Shepherd, Ricky Rudd, and Joe Nemechek. Jeff Burton and Dale Jarrett, Bill Elliott and Kyle Petty. Lake Speed and Jeff Gordon. And I'm sorry, I am corrected. They will go double file for the restart. Only green flag laps count.
But of course they will. You didn't think it's going to make this thing any less exciting than it's already been, did you?
That's right. We're in the entertainment business. Okay, final segment. Ernie Urban, by the way, goes home with $93,000. $200,000 to the man who gets the checkered flag. 80 for second, 50 for third.
He made almost as much as I did tonight. Just kidding, folks.
Greg Fielden does our stats, and he's just handed me one that says posted awards for tonight's race, $1,081,000. Value of the cars wrecked in this race so far, $1,079,000.
I'd say.
Did the fans get their money's worth?
I'm getting my money's worth. Look at Ward Burton up there in third place. And right on the outside, they were talking about they was worried about Schrader when this race gets back underway. Bodine's crew was. I'd worry about that second row back there, too. Yes. You see Sterling Marlin sitting there? Very fast race car.
Marlin in the yellow Kodak car, number 4. Burton in that blue, number 31. No points for the Winston Select. It is a non-point race. It's the all-star race. And its final 10 laps begins right now.
Ward must have had something wrong on the restart there. He had a terrible restart. You see that he moved back about 3 spots already.
Schrader on the outside of Jeff Bodine.
Look at Sterling coming up through here. And with the draft off these 2 cars running side by side, will pull him right up on them going down the back straightaway.
The combination of Rudd Pittman's motor and the gearing in Marlin's number 4 may be the fastest car in the field down the straightaway here.
Look at our colleague here. Mr. Waltrip's coming up through there pretty well, too.
Morgan
Shepherd, I guarantee you.
21 car of Shepherd in 4th. Burton back to 5th. You're riding with Jeff Bodine in 3rd, hunting for 2nd out of turn 2.
Looked like he's doing a little more than hunting right there. That was a pretty neat move there. He got up under him. Morgan Shepherd's on the outside there, trying to find the track position. Let's hope that Jeff knows he's on the outside there coming off this corner.
Darrell Waltrip brings Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett up into the lead draft.
Now here comes Ward Burton back on the bottom side of Morgan Shepherd to get back into 4th place there. Look at Darrell Waltrip. You talk about somebody's crafty in a situation like this. Here he comes.
Crafty, that's pretty bold. 3 wide for Waltrip. Will pick him up a spot. Look at those 3 Chevrolets lined up. Or rather, Waltrip with Rudd's Ford and Jarrett's Chevrolet.
You know what? Darrell Waltrip hadn't lost a thing. Ooh.
Sterling Marlin almost lost it all right there.
You better watch it getting in this corner if they're real close together.
Schrader up high, goes for the lead.
And don't count Jeff Bodine out of this thing. I'm telling you right now, that 4 car is hooked up with Kenny Schrader. Not going to let him go anywhere. He's going to take that preferred line away from him so he can't sweep up out of the corner. Easy, boys.
You send 20 guys down into the corner, and Schrader will be the last one to live.
Oh, Schrader does not know any part of fear. There's none of that in his name.
Ken Schrader in the 25 car, his last victory, 1991 at Dover. Sterling Marlin, winner of the Daytona 500 in the Kodak car, and they are still dead even.
You see in 4th spot there, Darrell Waltrip moved into 4th.
For the lead. 5 laps to go this time.
Wow, that's a lot of money, boys.
Marlin was real loose last time off the corner. Dead heat. 5 to go. I didn't believe it could get more exciting, but it has.
Look at the 4 car getting loose, getting in the corner there. He may lose several spots on this little move. It back in on the 4 car, did exactly what Greg Sachs was. He was just lucky enough to get it. Look at Darrell Waltrip go on the bottom side for 2nd place.
Waltrip, he has been the opportunist. He's taken great advantage of everybody else's miscue, and it's got him up to 2nd place. You're riding with Jeff Bodine. The quad oval, start-finish line. Back to turn 1. 4 to go.
You know, Darrell's pretty good in the booth. He's pretty good out there on the racetrack, too. I'll guarantee you. Look at Bodine coming up under him, though. That's the preferred line.
Darrell's getting a few gray hairs, but he is still pretty racy. Ricky Rudd on the bottom. Moves up a notch. Now it's Bodine and Waltrip. 2 Hoosier shot cars. Waltrip climbs the racetrack. Sterling Marlin coming back in it.
Boy, I guarantee you Schrader was hoping they'd stay side by side for a while, because this gives Bodine a run as Schrader going through here. And everybody's been saying the whole week Bodine's been playing possum. Now we're going to find out.
Jeff Bodine locked onto the rear bumper of Kenny Schrader. Sterling Marlin, the number 4, coming back for
Here
third.
he comes. There was some sand in that bag, wasn't it?
Bodine takes his bobsled into turn 3.
Bobsled, indeed.
And he
That's a
comes
running
out.
forward there, folks.
He comes out with the lead. Schrader in second place again for the 4th time in this event. 2 to go.
Wow. You can see by the bumper cam there, Jeff is moving on.
There's the second pack, led by Sterling Marlin in 3rd, Waltrip in 4th, Ricky Rudd in 5th, looking for some racing room.
You know, I don't know whether Waltrip might have used his tires up or what, but he's dropping back a little bit. Ricky Rudd's trying to get the spot, but right here's where it's all at, right up front.
White flag. 1 lap to go.
Bodine ever going to convince anybody he wasn't sandbagging just a little bit. That's a wrecked race car that they fixed, and he is going back here, and it looks like he may pull this job off. You see Sterling Marlin moving in there, going into the 3rd turn now.
And Hoosier Tires making its first victory of the season. Sterling Marlin will battle Schrader for 2nd. It's Bodine off the corner to win it. Jeff Bodine, the 86 500 winner, will win it, and for 2nd,
wow,
I can't call it.
I would have to say Sterling might have done something.
Kenny Schrader looking for 2nd for the 4th time in this event. The first win for Hoosier Tires since 1989.
Boy, that's a lot of money. I tell you, this team needs it. They've had some terrible luck the first part of this year.
He's got a 1 in the air. It ought to be 2 for $200,000.
You know what, though? It's really nice to see that 7 car back in the winner's circle again.
Yes, it is. Jeff Bodine purchased this race team from Jerry Kulwicki, Alan's father, toward the end of last season. And they wrecked a bunch of race cars. Now, sweet victory.
Oh, indeed. I believe he's going to turn her around here, folks.
Oh.
In memory of Alan Kulwicki. That is really special there, folks. There won't be a dry eye in this booth. Man, goosebumps are all out on me.
You know, there's 2 things I like about the Kulwicki victory lap. One is that it pays great tribute to Alan, a great race driver. But also, as Jeff Bodine goes around this speedway, the right side of the car is to our camera, but he's got the window net down, and he's facing the fans. He can see and he can hear as they applaud the winner, and we get to remember the great champion. That says it all.
3 of the best. There's times you just don't have much to say in this one of them. I tell you, this is really moving here to me.
Next stop for Jeff Bodine, Victory Lane. Glenn Jarrett awaits him. Jeff Bodine's earnings tonight, $250,000.
Okay.
Jeff Bodine won the Daytona 500 in 1986 for Rick Hendrick, drove for Junior Johnson, drove for Bud Moore. But in the modifieds, not counting the year he won about 65 of 82 starts for Dick Armstrong, he ran his own race team for many of those years, the number 99 Valiants, and then the Cavalier modifieds with Billy Taylor. And a few years ago, he said, you know, I'd like to have my own race team. I'd like to call the shots. And one time he told me, I'd like to try doing what Alan Kulwicki does and try to run a team that way and see how we might do. And that thought has been validated here tonight. There's Bob Newton of Hoosier Tire in the purple jacket. He's got to be the second happiest guy in the house.
Well, Mike, that's the same crew that Alan Kulwicki had, and they got a lot to be proud of.
We're back in victory lane. We're fighting for position there, is Glenn Jarrett.
I'll get it.
If they can get Bob Newton out of the window there, I see that purple hat sticking all in through the side of the car there from Hoosier.
Oldest of the racing brothers from Chemung, New York. His brothers Brett and Todd were in the Winston Open tonight.
Let's get him out. We got to be live TV, Bob. Bob, we got to be live.
Yeah, Bob. Can you let him out of the car, Bob?
Yes, watch this. He'll do a tap dance on top. Yes.
You know, Jeff Bodine won $250,000, but I don't think that's the most important thing he won tonight.
No. I tell you what, that's a spot in history he just made there. And I tell you, when you say you've won the Winston, you've won the biggest race, the biggest shootout of all times.
Let's go to victory lane. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Jeff's getting a big swig of Gatorade, and what a thrilling finish, but also what a fitting tribute to our fallen champion, Alan Kowicki.
Been waiting a long time, Glenn, to make that backwards lap. And in honor of Alan, that'll be the last one. Alan, he was riding with me tonight, those last few laps, really. What a tremendous feeling. I wish my wife was here. I need her because she owns this car. I'm just a driver. But great for Hoosier, their first win, a big win for Hoosier. A big win for this team. This team is great. Boy, was that a tough race. Well, I hope everybody's okay. Ernie, Dale, and everybody got in the red.
Well, again, congratulations. I accuse you of sandbagging, but I think you thought you had the car all along.
No, we had to make some adjustments. After that first spin, the front end was damaged. We fixed that. The second 30, it wasn't right. We made some adjustments. It was right on that last 10 laps, though.
Congratulations again on a great victory. Jeff Bodine, this year's winner of the Winston Select. Randy?
Sterling Marlin, it was that close. Jeff's over there picking up $250,000, but you had a nice night.
Yeah, I tell you, we struggled yesterday, and, you know, Tony and the boys worked real hard on the car, got it handling good, and, you know, the car just drove real good. Hats off to that team, and if we could have got on the outside of Schrader, you know, I believe we could have had him, but he kept me loose when I was up under him and lots of fun down there, but we had a good time, fun racing for Schrader.
Okay, and he'll be back next week for the 600.
That's right. This is just the start of May Summer Speed Week here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Busch Grand National race next Saturday. Pole night, Goodies Pole night, Wednesday here at Charlotte. Champion 300 on Saturday, the Coke 600 on next Sunday. Well, they said it couldn't be the wildest Winston ever, but sure gets a nod in my book. Jeff Bodine, a winner. Sterling Marlin, $80,000 for second. Ken Schrader, $50,000 for third. Darrell Waltrip, fourth. Ricky Rudd, fifth. Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett, Morgan Shepherd, Ward Burton, and Joe Nemechek. That's the top 10. Kyle Petty, Bill Elliott, Lake Speed, Jeff Gordon, and Ernie Irvin ended up in the garage, as did Mark Martin, Greg Sachs, Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, and Terry Labonte with mechanical problems. The other drivers out due to crashes. It just can't get any wilder than this. We said that in '92. We've got to say it again.
The only way it could get more exciting is they build a ramp down the back straightaway and let them jump each other when they go by.
They nearly did that tonight in the Winston Open. What a grand night of racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Stock Car Racing's all-star night has been a wild one, and Jeff Bodine is the man with a $200,000 check. Tomorrow, TNN televises the Meridian Advantage 200 live. The Busch Grand National race at Nazareth, Pennsylvania rolls off at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We'll be there to bring you all the action.
I look forward to that. I'll tell you what, that's our second batch of superstars. I love the Busch Grand National circuit. You guys join us tomorrow. I guarantee you'll see more of the same.
That'll be a great show on the 1 mile at Nazareth, PA. Lots more racing to come on TNN. In 1994, we'll be at Dover in 2 weeks, at Pocono in 3 weeks, at Phoenix, at Rockingham, and all down the line. You're watching the network that brings you more Busch Grand National racing than all other networks combined. TNN. The NASCAR network? Well, at least the Nashville network. For Glenn Jarrett, Randy Pemberton, and Buddy Baker, I'm Mike Joy, congratulating Jeff Bodine on his win in the Winston Select. Good night, everybody.